I've been waiting a long time for this moment to come. I'm destined for anything at all. Downtown, lights will be shining on me like a new diamond ring out under the midnight hour. Well, no one can touch me now. Well, and I get to my bed, it's too late. Ready or not at all. Well, I'm so much closer than I have ever known. Wake up!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another edition of Let Me Tell You This About That. How you guys doing today? I'm Mr. J, as always, government name Gillespie. On my left-hand side is one Mr. Kevin Kane. Kevin, how you doing today,
Good
bud?
afternoon, Mrs. J.
How's things, man?
Miss Lauren, and we have a special guest here, Mr. J.
We do. We
Yes.
do. How you doing?
Carolyn
Today we
Plummer.
have... What's that?
Miss Carolyn Plummer.
We do have Miss Carolyn Plummer. That's not just a rumor, folks. Welcome to our show. How you doing today, Carolyn?
Good to be here.
Well, good to have you. Thanks for coming. How's your week going?
Pretty good. I had a bar show on Thursday, which was rough.
You survived. That's a good thing.
People don't know how to go out, I don't think, yet. They're still thinking that they can do whatever they want. And we had a nurse in her 40s who ended up blowing chunks under the dumpster outside. So she had a good time, but she spent the second half of the show trying not to throw up at her table.
Oh, all right.
That's the
I look forward to this when I get back into comedy. I look forward to these.
Yeah,
kind of
I think it's
stories.
going to take a month or so for people, because people just, they want to talk and they want to do stuff, but it's not a shared experience right now.
Right.
Everybody just works in their groups, so I'm hoping that goes away pretty soon.
Is this your second melee you've been involved in comedy-wise?
Oh yeah, there was another show in Abington,
So
Mass.
I work with a one, Mr. William Farrell.
You do?
And
So did he
came
tell you
in-
about it?
He came in the next day. He's like, "You're not going to believe what happened."
I think
So,
this is what you'd call an exclusive, folks.
So he called it the rage in the cage.
Yeah, it was.
And those pictures of broken microphone cords.
Yeah, I've never seen that before in my life. This girl pulled a microphone cord in half, so that
Serious? That girl did that?
wires were hanging out. Like she didn't separate the mic from the cord.
So back it up a little. What basically take it from what happened?
Okay, so the short version is
Cliff
this
Notes
table right next to the stage was really loud, like just talking and like being rude, and like they were drunk. And I ignored them as much as possible because I was only doing 25 minutes. So I was like, I'm going to get through this. And the other kid that was on the show, like they were pretty quiet when he was up there when he opened. So it was crazy. Like, and then other people in the audience started saying, you know, shut the F up, and you shut the F up. And so then it started, like, the crowd started turning on each other. And then Lenny Clark went up, and he hadn't even told any jokes. And I took a picture with the girl outside who ended up ripping the mic cord in half. So this old guy was, like, talking. So I said, Billy, you got to kick that guy out. So he went over and said, "You got."
Billy is a correction officer.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So he had to go into CO mode.
Yeah. So he went in and told everybody to shut the fuck up, you know, in his nice Boston accent, which I don't know if that was the best way to handle it, but they didn't. And then
They didn't need that advice.
they did not. So then this old guy in his 70s with a sleeveless shirt on, which
Oh,
made me laugh anyway.
So he came over from the Brockton line.
Yeah, absolutely. And he had shorts on. So they asked.
His jorts.
He's got a Rocky Marciano shirt
Yeah,
on.
so they told him to be quiet. He went and talked to the loud table, and then Billy's like, "You gotta go." So he kicked him out, and while he was walking out, he said, "Suck it," and did the V,
So he brought it back WWF style to Generation X.
which was hilarious to me. But then it just progressed from there really quickly, and like someone went over to ask them to be quiet in the audience. This little guy in a Boston Bruins hat, and then a drink was thrown, and then that guy got punched in the head.
You may not know this, but there was somebody else there that night.
Could it possibly be one? Silly Gilly Gillespie.
There was somebody named Gillespie there that night.
My uncle Chris apparently was in attendance.
Really?
So did you see somebody that looked kind of like Jay with hair?
Maybe. I mean, at that point, I was in the corner.
Jay and the guy from the like Colonel from Sanders like mixed together.
So then this girl who was related to someone at the loud table got in Lenny's face, and he was still on stage going, "What is happening?" And she's trying to plead her case or whatever, and he's like, "Get out of my face." And I had just taken a picture with her, so I went up and said, "Come on, let's stop this," or whatever. And she kind of brushed me off, and I was like, "Well, I don't want to get shanked," so I left.
Wise decision. Wise
So I'm in the
Smart
corner,
girl.
like away from everything, and then the mic got ripped, and my cord got ripped in half.
So
and
was that a tug of war?
She was pulling on the mic, and Lenny was holding.
So it was
the
with
mic.
Lenny? Was it tug of war?
So he was holding the mic. That's why it didn't separate from the cord. He was holding underneath on the cord too.
Because he's a consummate professional and he has mic control.
So she ripped it in half, and then the whole sound system fed back.
Oh, beautiful.
Like, so the night was over at that point. And then meanwhile, the fight that started over here with the drink being thrown ended up as like a melee on the floor, and like there was a full-on brawl. And the lady next to me, who is a teacher or something in town,
Yelled World Star.
she's like, "I'm calling 911." I go like,
This fun is yes.
so I said, "Yeah, that's probably. I think it's going to progress." And we thought like beer bottles were going to get thrown, or they were going to go outside, and then like it was going to be a huge deal. It didn't end up happening. And some other guys at the show that were like, just wanted to watch the show, they walked Lenny out to his truck to make sure he was okay. And then 5 cop cars showed up with these giant policemen that were all pretty young. They're like, "What happened?" I go, "Well." So then they swung by on Saturday night because it was the same show.
Oh my.
And
We heard there may be trouble.
Yeah,
and then-
Trouble of brewing.
but then it started again, the people yelling shit out and not being quiet, and then everybody going, "Shut the fuck up, no, you shut the fuck up." And I said to one of the cops, I go, "This is how it started last night."
right.
around.
And they're still doing that with the cops there. Though.
Yeah, it didn't progress. But one lady who was a nurse, well, she's a phlebotomist. We ended up, Lenny was talking about losing weight. And like 45 seconds when he was done with that bitch, she goes, "And how do you feel?"
Shit.
Brings the
Impeccable timing.
brings the show to a screeching halt, and he's already like on to the defense from the night before. So he's like, "What do you mean? How do I feel? How do I feel about being here in Abington?" And blah blah blah. And he goes on this like rant, which was really funny. And he told this long story about when he bought his mansion in L.A. and she wasn't even listening at that point.
Right.
She's like cleaning up her table. She's like already on to the next thing. So she didn't know that it was directed at her. And then the next day he apologized on Facebook because he kind of lumped her in with the other people.
Yep.
And she really was genuinely just, she should have waited till after the show to ask him. But she genuinely was like, "How do you feel? You know, like you lost over
concerned
100
about
pounds." Yeah.
Yeah, well, he was in a mic cord like tug of war, man. Like, I mean, honestly, like we
It
got
was
mic cords
crazy.
left and right here. Try this.
It was
like,
thicker than that too.
wow.
Like, I've never seen that in my entire life.
Man, that's the type of girl you bring home to mom.
Abington's finest.
And then
Abington's
afterwards,
finest.
when they left, like the Knights of Columbus people are like, "We're very sorry. That doesn't happen here." I'm like,
Man.
I bet it does.
I bet it does. I bet it
They were
happens every
drinking
time.
nips. There were nips all underneath the table, so they weren't even like seeing how drunk these people were getting because they weren't
Right.
buying drinks there. So
Yeah, and they're not known for their modesty when they're pouring out the liquor at the.
it was crazy. That was my biggest show since the pandemic.
Man, welcome back. Turns out comedy's back, folks, and so is violence against.
I can't believe I jumped in like an idiot though. I was like, "Come on, let's go," and she's like, "I'm like, all right, I'm out of here."
Well, you guys just had a moment. You guys just had a moment. You
Well,
took a
I
picture
thought I
together,
could
you
reason
thought-
with
yeah.
her, but
You took that selfie.
there was no reasoning. with her.
Well, me being a CO along with Billy, you'd fit right in. You jumped right in. Some COs hesitate. You've
Oh,
seen
I've seen it,
in photos.
yeah, time
You
and time
freeze. You jumped right in. So kudos.
Well, it was with the girl, but then I was like, she's more of a badass than some of the guys that were
Dude,
fighting.
girls, I've seen a million
Oh, yeah.
fights, and yeah, girls bring.
She's wearing this halter top though, so I was like, stuff's gonna pop out if we don't nip this in the bud.
No pun intended.
Yeah, or bud this in the nip or whatever. It was not good.
That's Abington. And where was the second brawl you saw this week? The
Oh,
second show.
the loud show. It didn't end up being a brawl, but people were mad. I was talking to people after the show, and they're like, this is our first time out, and we couldn't hear, so we wanted them to be quiet, but we didn't want to cause a scene. Like, so That's the thing that's happening now. Like, people are so used to being at home in their own group that they feel comfortable just yelling crap out and stuff out in the show. And they have to get used to the fact that there's 100 other people here that want to hear the show too. Like, it's not about you. So that was in Plymouth, Mass at some place, Surfside, whatever.
Nice.
Smokehouse.
The Plymouth was also known for having like a massive like fight club happen on their beach like about a week ago. Where,
Oh, really?
100 people just showed up to beat.
Wish I'd known that before I took that gig.
It actually looked quite peaceful. I'm like, well, hey, these people want to beat the shit out of each other, man. Like,
It was just weird because it wasn't like young people. It was like older couples.
Yeah.
And then there was a whole mom's night out group, and they were the problem.
You have to watch us when we go out because we
Yeah.
can tend to get a little rowdy, but luckily we've been keeping it in check in my area.
Yeah.
So
And it ended up fine, but I was like, oh, God, it's going to be another brawl.
Well, I think like the alcohol like has been unchecked like in people's houses and people forgot how to get like public drunk.
Yeah, the lady who threw up said that in the bathroom.
She's like, I got
Her friend's like,
I
did
was
you
shit-faced.
eat? She goes, I ate a little bit. I was like,
And a protein bar.
I'm going to wash my hands and get out of here because I like these sneakers.
Yeah, good choice. Good call. Man, yeah. So that's a rough start, man. You have it rough. I have some official footage here, folks. A little something I'd like to play.
Is that from the brawl?
Actually, I wish it was. Kehd, did you?
I was working on getting footage. Lenny's brother has it.
Well, people
So-
took video, and there was the police took it, and then they sent it to Billy, I think.
Billy Farrell was going to try to get it for me, but
And Lenny took the mic home. He's gonna frame it.
That's good.
awesome.
Yeah, that's
I
up there
like
with
that.
your first stand-up dollars. Is like mics that got destroyed while I tug awarded with some Amazonian.
I didn't think he'd come back the next night, to be honest. But he's like, "No, I'm here to do this show. It's not anybody's fault."
Yeah, my hat's off to him, man. This is Carolyn. I'd like to I know you got introduced to Kevin out front. This is how we know Kevin. This is this is his words from last week. I just want to try and give you a little taste of what his belief system was last week. Weather's getting nice.
no, it's going to be great.
Days are getting longer and what have you. And yeah, we're soaking it up here in good old-fashioned Massachusetts, folks. Well, that didn't go as planned. So anyway,
so is this about the Bruins?
People
Yeah,
like,
so-
people are gonna be mad that
Kevin being
some people like still thought it was like a fake pandemic and
shit. But yeah, Kevin, you went on the record saying it was.
I went on the record. Bruins in 3.
I thought that
we got to win
totally.
4 games to move on. The series is tied 2-2, and I said a couple of shows ago that I hate my parents for letting me become a sports fan.
Yeah, I had a video on that too. Yeah.
Yeah, so Monday, I took my 14-year-old to the game, and my wife was against it. She's like, he's got school tomorrow. It's an 8 o'clock game. And I'm like, the game will be over at like 10:15. We'll be home at 10:45.
Right.
Like, he has hockey practice 9 to 10. Like, it's a playoff game. Let him live it up.
Right.
Goes into overtime. I'm like, fucking goddamn
Thank
it.
you.
And so it ended up going to like 4 minutes left in overtime, and the Bruins lose. Like, and first of all, I had no fun at the game. Like, I was miserable. Like, if you're, like I said before, if you're a real fan, you're not having fun. You're living and dying with every pass, every shot. You're nauseous.
Right.
Like, I'm not sitting there like, wee! Like, the Bruins are losing. I'm seeing people happy on the Jumbotron. I want to punch them in the face.
Kiss cameras.
Everyone, like, got to be miserable as me. Everyone's got to be nervous as me.
Yes. We're Boston. We're known for that.
And then we're sitting last row balcony, top of the stairs. The Islanders scoring a breakaway. My 14-year-old ran like a 4.240 down the stairs. Like, just pissed. Like, just ran. Then we get to the parking garage, and shame on me, I knew not to park in this garage. 45 minutes to get out of the parking garage.
Oh, my.
Like, now I'm just, like, fuming. Just, like, angry. Got home like 12:30, 12:35. Just laying in bed, staring at the ceiling.
Right.
Probably drifted off about 1:05, 1:15. Up at work at 3:30.
Man.
Got to be at work at 4:30 in the morning.
Exactly.
And I've been chasing it ever since. And the wife worked till like 9 o'clock, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm battling by myself with the kids.
Yeah.
You know, Carol, I got a 4, 5-year-old. Like, they're running up the score on me like it's a 07 Patriots.
They get up early too.
Oh, well, no, like they won't go to bed. Like, so it's like 8 o'clock at night, and I'm just got the white flag. Like, oh, Danny hit me. No, they used to take boxing. I'm like, Martin said keep your hands up. I don't care. Don't get hit. Like, that's your fault you got hit. He said keep your hands up. 1-2 hook. Like, hit him back. Like, I don't care.
Yes.
You know, and also one other thing real quick. I know we're going a little long here.
No.
It's June, 6 today?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm out on summer. I'm out.
You're over it?
Summer is the most overrated thing in the world. When it's in our brain wired to like summer, because for 12 years, or if you were smart and went to college,
Yes.
it's in because you got 2 months off of school.
That's a good point.
Yep.
I can't get any summer vacations at work.
Nah, that's true.
So I got to go to work, sweat my ass off.
Yes. And polyester.
I got to sit at soccer today, just drenched.
I don't
looked
understand soccer
around.
anymore.
Nobody was having fun.
No.
No, we're all fucking miserable.
Yes.
You know, I love watching my kids play soccer, but we're miserable. Like, we're fucking bacon.
Yes.
And then, I'm sitting on my fucking asphalt driveway, just fucking soaked. There's no other 2 months of the year, that's better. Now, I know you like to go to the Cape.
On occasion, yeah.
Yeah, you're a Cape guy.
Yep.
Isn't it better to go to the Cape in, October with a hoodie on, just walking around? It's a little cool.
I like that.
Isn't
I
the
love
fall,
the
a little better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
do.
but no, we're in tune to like the summer to get, maybe if you're lucky, you get that 1 week, you go to the beach, your kids drive you nuts, but we got to fucking act like we like it.
Yes.
And we're fucking packing up to bring everyone to the beach, with the fucking wagon, we're miserable, you worked all that overtime to get the beach house, you fight with your wife. Summer sucks. All right?
Yeah.
All right, and Southie sucks too. Fucking, we can't find parking. All right? These fucking people in Speedos in M Street Beach. You're not in fucking Miami. And who are the assholes? It's 95 degrees out at 5:30 on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Why are you running?
Yes.
Why are you running?
Yes.
Take the day off.
Take the day off,
Take
all right?
the day
I'll do it
off.
at 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
Why are you running? Come on.
My
All right.
favorite is we've had people shot. There's gunshots going off fucking nightly. There's a Fast and Furious 700 cars that come out.
Yeah.
And I drove up M Street Beach today, and there was no bullshit. Fucking 4 troopers standing out there I'm making sure that these fucking
Yes.
millennials fucking
Yeah.
get proper
passed
SPF.
I saw
I
some
passed
out there
them.
when I was parking.
I passed them 3 times. I'm like, why are you
America's
is there something
fucking
going
heroes,
on?
like-
Oh, no, you're just standing there. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for keeping me safe.
Jesus Christ, man. I felt safe as shit, man, for that.
Yeah, go to M Street Beach, fucking.
50 yards that,
But the crammed in there. Come on.
Yeah, it's tough too being Irish because we're a room of mostly Irish, and then there's
I'm half Irish. I'm half
I'm actually pasty white English.
I kind of
Mayflower
had
people.
I had a feeling, but I didn't want to say that.
Yeah, we came over on the Mayflower. Woohoo.
That's okay. We'll grandfather you in. Thanks for trying to stab us to death and what have you. But yeah, no, that's that. I mean, honestly, because the weather that we're fucking attuned to is overcast, cloudy. So when the sun pops out, it's fucking putting tinfoil in the microwave.
Sucks. This is no. I gotta wear BDUs tomorrow, and if you don't know what BDUs are, they're heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy pants. 100 things on my belt.
Yep.
No, it's gonna suck.
Air conditioner never works in the courthouse or the jail. And
No,
shit no.
I gotta go to jail tomorrow in the middle of fucking. It's gonna be 95 degrees.
Exactly. I'll be thinking about you.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kevin, man. And what did the Bruins play tomorrow night? So you get.
So the Bruins are playing tomorrow night. I listed my tickets on StubHub for $1,000.
Oh, wow.
So that's my price right now. They're going for about $400 each. I listed them for $500.
Okay.
So I got them listed till noontime. And then I'll take them down. I might go to the game. I don't know.
All right. Well,
If you give me $1,000, I'll send them home.
and hopefully you make this makes up for your Dogecoin.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, Dogecoin. That's going to the moon.
Yeah,
Still going.
Good for you.
we'll get there, Kev.
Yeah.
I believe you, man. Good luck.
Like $50 I put in is up to 51. It's going to the moon.
That's hot.
Yeah, your kids are going definitely to junior college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Civil service written all over.
But hey, man, we'll show them how to do it, man. We'll get them a nice hack job driving Zambonis, man.
Yeah.
That's me and Kev's final goal. All right, how's your week going? How you doing, Dad?
I don't know how to follow any of this right now. I'm sorry. We've got, these wonderful stories of stand-up comedy that's wow. And I'm just going to sit here going, I only have 18 days of work left. Oh, God.
Sure, you do have 18 days of work left.
Only 18 days. Only 18 days.
Exactly.
If you were a good city or state work, you'd call in sick on at least 7 of them.
Oh yeah, you have to burn through your sick time.
You gotta
every
call
day,
in sick.
Yeah.
No, but I'm
free
getting paid
vacation.
for all that unused time, so I'm like,
That's awesome.
Yeah, but still,
I'm
we don't
very
think that far
excited.
ahead.
I'm very excited. Yeah, I mean, but it's still getting like really like surreal. Like I think I'm going on vacation, but I'm not. I'm like leaving. I'm not going back. I mean, I'm shipping my laptop back to the office, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then like, what do I do? Oh, I'm sleeping. That's right, I'm sleeping.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
catching up on at least 4 years of sleep.
Yeah.
Drinking in the morning, because that's what mimosas were made for.
That will keep it. Yeah.
It was funny. My youngest daughter had an IEP meeting this week at last one of the school year, and I actually brought mimosas on the Zoom call, and they were very impressed with me. So I think I made an impression.
Nice.
I think I made an
We
impression.
got one next week. Have to do that.
I could pass you some mimosas, and you'd score some major brownie points with them. But yeah, it's I'm just going along. It was a very quiet week.
You have a very
But-
nice new hairdo. You want to tell people
Thank
about?
you. Yeah, we don't have to really go into it, but yeah, I'm really excited about my new hairdo. They say blondes have more fun, so I went a little blonde.
Yes.
And thank you to everyone on Facebook for liking my picture. That was very nice of you all to say you liked it. So I'm very happy right now.
Ah, well, but that you deserve
Feeling
it.
quite sexy, so the theme music is definitely helping me today. So I got the new hair, I have a theme music. I'm like one step away from OnlyFans, so there you go.
Exactly, man. Nice. Yeah, I didn't have that fucking. I was telling Carolyn when we were waiting out front, watching Lauren drive by and try and find a parking spot.
Big Ben Parliament.
Shut up.
Big Ben Parliament.
Wait, Big Band Parliament.
There was a spot out front you could have backed an aircraft carrier into.
Right.
Shut up.
I think they're having a picnic in it right now,
I
actually.
think he was mixing drinks in his trunk.
I have a thing. I'm not excellent at parallel parking. It's not one of my fortes. And to do it in front of 3 people, a little too much pressure for me.
Full performance
Thank you.
anxiety. I hear you.
Little anxiety.
So
Well, next time, holler at you, boys and girls.
So she parked in Portsmouth.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Took the Greyhound.
Exactly.
Yes, I did. Thank you very much. It's lovely. I'm under a tree near the water. It's beautiful.
You packed the giggles and fucking.
Basically, yeah, I'm under the tent to
Frank
giggles,
drove you
basically,
down.
yeah.
I hear
It
you.
was a lovely walk, and yeah, I had passed some idiot who's running, sweating.
He
running.
ran by us.
Oh my
Is somebody
god!
chasing you?
Is there a tiger involved? The fucking life of
I said
Pi?
100 when I got in my car. I would not be out running.
You late for a meeting?
I don't even want to eat. Never mind.
There was
Yeah, like I didn't even eat lunch today.
Yeah.
There was one
What?
time
I ate very light today, which never
I
happened.
had
I
a
was gonna
Reese's,
say same here.
I had a
I
Reese's
had a
peanut butter
communion
cup
wafer.
for lunch. They were delicious. Melted, but they were delicious. But there was one day I was driving and I saw a guy running, and he was limping.
Okay.
And that made me think, you know what? If you're running and you're limping, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And I think you should just go home. Just walk home.
Well, that-
I'll give you a lift if you like. But when I see that, I'm like, no.
That's pretty much exactly what I was segueing into when I was talking to Carolyn. Like we both jump started. Like we did our first workout post pandemic, and then I asked Carolyn like what part of her body she hurt, and I said that I hurt my back. And so yeah, I spent my whole week like taking a leave and naproxen and not sleeping because I went too heavy off the bat immediately. And now I can't work out. So there you go.
There you go. There's a reason.
That was my
There's
week.
a reason.
Going heavy and hard right away.
Oh, off the fucking
kid, I'm
shots,
going
dude.
heavy and hard.
I'm just amazed I'm not doing it with a hangover anymore. Like fucking, just to stack on some challenge, you know? Like it's actually dehydration to get those muscles choked the fuck out, man. But yeah, so that was our weeks, man. Some of us hurt ourselves. Some of us watched other people's hurt themselves. Some of us got new hairdos, and that's about it, man. So yeah, usually play a song and shit like that. I think we can probably dispense with that nonsense and just
Dive right in. Let's
Dive
go.
right in, folks. We're just here at. We'll remind you that what the fuck is the name of our show again? Let me tell you this about that. We're here today. We're going to talk about comedy. We have an actual professional in the building, folks. And we were going to just go over like who our favorite comedians were growing up. I was only able to get a few of the ones that you guys offered. But like I got Mitch for you and I got Rosie for you, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much.
And yeah, so yeah, just start off with Kevin, man. Like what was your comedy like exposure growing up? Like what did you like?
So growing up, that was I would tape on A&E. Was I'm drawing a blank on the name.
Evening at the Improv.
Evening at the Improv.
I did the
I
same
think there
thing.
was on like 11 to 12 or 10 to 11. I always tape that in Comic Strip Live
Yep.
on Fox.
Yeah.
And just like the old school guys, and they like Richard Jenny, you know, Barry Sobel,
Oh man, I forgot about Barry.
you know, like the Paula Poundstone, like the
Steve Sweeney had a set on there.
like Steve Sweeney. Like I love Steve Sweeney. You
Good
know,
for you.
but
He used to do all these impressions, though.
but like he like just you know,
He did
I didn't know any better. You know, like to me like being a kid, you know, seeing like a kid from a guy from Boston was just hilarious.
Yeah.
But my taste has kind of changed. Like when I was like in my early 20s, whenever like Jim Norton would come,
Okay, yeah.
I would see Jim Norton. I watched like a Jim Norton special like 3 years ago,
Yes.
and like I can't do like the raunchy stuff anymore. I'm just like, yeah, I can't. Even the latest Burt Kreischer, like I'm like, I just can't do the raunchy stuff anymore.
No, yeah.
Like I'm more like a Jim Gaffigan.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he's ever sworn
Right.
before.
Brian Regan.
Right, like guys like that. But I saw Stephen Lynch, the musician, and Mitch Hedberg, and I fell in love with Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah.
And I don't even think like the jokes Mitch tells are not even that funny.
No. It's,
They're really not.
Right.
Like one of them is like, "You'll never see a broken escalator; you just see stairs."
right.
In a box, that's not that funny.
Mm-hmm.
But just the way his cadence, his
delivery.
eyes are half open, probably because find out now what he died of a heroin overdose.
Yeah.
You know, he's probably, high. His eyes are
I definitely was
yeah.
high, yeah.
Yeah, his eyes aren't even open. Just his cadence.
Yeah.
He is my ultimate number one comedian.
Yeah.
You know,
I hear you. I didn't discover him until after he was gone, to be honest with you.
right? Like he was always him and Stephen Lynch.
Let me throw a little Mitch on people for a second, man. We
Like I
can't
said,
listen.
in a box. If you just listen now, he's not like. It's one of those. It's almost like a Napoleon Dynamite
Right.
type comedian where he kind of just.
Well, the funny part is I've had to explain that like people genuinely like they wind up liking the comedian. They might not remember the jokes, but they're like, I like that guy or girl.
Right.
And with him, like there's like him and like Steven. Why am I having brain
Stephen
cramps? But yeah.
Like they don't tell a story. They're just like.
But you
they
find
hit
it on the
boom,
personality.
boom, boom.
Like,
But
yeah. Like,
he has like the machine gun, like just joke out. Like he's not a story comedian. He's just joke.
One-liners. Let's take a little tiny listen. I don't know how long we can listen. This is Mitch Hedberg.
Using my theme song.
Is he using the theme song?
Yes.
Yeah, I got to write these jokes. So I sit at the hotel at night. I think of something that's funny. Then I go get a pen and I write it down. Or if the pen's too far away, I have to convince myself that what I thought of ain't funny. I don't stay at the bed and breakfast. I don't think I would, because I figure if you stay at a bed and breakfast, by the end of the day, you start to get hungry. Is that all you got around here? Then you need to direct me to a chair lunch dinner. So I'm going to open up a chain of chair lunch dinners and put them right across the street from the bed and breakfast. Say, come on over about 1. But you had to leave at 11. Because you ain't sleeping in the chair.
Perfect, man.
Just an hour of those.
Yeah, he's a special talent, man. It's like, I wish I knew about him when he was doing his thing, man. But yeah, I'm a big fan of his, man.
Yeah, I've seen like he used to play like the Orpheum, and just wish he was, obviously just wish he was still around. Got a little bigger exposure, He was just awesome. He's definitely my favorite.
Nice, man. What was your comedy life growing up, Lauren? Down there?
Growing up, we had 5 comedy albums in the house. 3 of which were Bill Cosby.
Oh yeah, dude.
I'm sorry,
didn't
his stuff
know.
from the 60s was funny. And when you're a little kid, they were funny. But now you look and go, oh, no, okay. But the other 2 albums were Pat Cooper.
Gotcha.
Pat Cooper was late 50s, early 60s Vegas comic. He actually still lives on the West Coast. Still actually plays Vegas, I believe. I'm friends with him on Instagram. He has actually responded to some of my posts on Instagram, which is the coolest thing when you idolize someone growing up and you've actually listened to their albums and everything, and they actually like you on Instagram. It's the coolest thing. I'm sorry, it really is. Pat Cooper, I just loved he was really fast. I like comedians who are like boom, boom, boom,
Like a
boom,
machine
boom.
gun.
Exactly. And Pat was like that. And he actually did songs too in his act. I wasn't crazy about the song part, but his jokes about growing up Italian was like me listening to someone tell me about like my parents' life and everything. And it was very, very similar. And I actually crafted my first joke when I was like, I must have been like 8 years old. And the joke was, it was so bad. It was like, what's the phrase that every Italian family hears on Sunday? And my mother would be looking at me like, what, honey? Put the water on. And she's like, oh, that's so cute. Go put the water on. I said, okay. So yeah, I mean, that's what we listened to. And then when I was in high school, so like late 80s into my college years, early 90s up to like 94, 95, I watched all of those shows. Comic Strip Live, Stand Up Spotlight,
VH1,
Live at the Ice House in Pasadena with Rosie O'Donnell and stuff. And I would devour these shows. I was a junkie for these shows, but I never had the encouragement or the guts to say, oh, I want to be a stand-up comic someday. Never had that. But in the back of my head, I was like, I would love to do that. I love to make people laugh, but was terrified. Could not do it. I didn't do stand-up until I was 48 years old. I literally started in 2019.
Gotcha.
And then COVID hit. So I'm a little behind in my plan. But listening to, finding those clips that you asked for and stuff, and watching these people, and I fell in love with Steve Sweeney back in the 90s when he was doing stand-up at a Nick's Comedy outlet in Dedham.
Yeah.
At the Holiday Inn next to what was it? Lombardo's.
Yeah.
With the big chandelier. And they used to have a Holiday Inn, and Nick's had like a little
satellite
studio.
In the lab.
And I saw him, and he was hysterical.
Yeah.
He would do impressions, and it was a Boston comic, and you got his jokes, and he was brilliant. I used to love going to live shows and stuff. Comedy Connection at Faneuil Hall. I saw my first live comedy. It was Jeff Dunham and Peanut, ventriloquist, but he was wicked funny. He was really funny. And we would go see comedy whenever we could, you know. But yeah, I used to love that stuff. Listening to albums, watching shows. I mean, I loved Rosie O'Donnell. I thought back in the day, she was like me. She was the chubby girl with the brunette hair making people laugh. I said, well, if she can do it, I would love to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I grew up with.
Yeah, no, that's I always felt like with Rosie too, it was like, you know, like she was like a friend vibe too. Like she was like, oh, I could hang out with Rosie, like, and like all that whole crew of like Bobby Collins, like that whole like you know late '80s deal that was going on, but yeah, but also like Bill Cosby, like, you know, like most artists, turns out he's a fucking asshole, but Bill Cosby himself, man, like that totally, like, you know, that the whole first record, that's why I tried to get some of the audio of him and you know, talking about parents, or like, you know, or getting chocolate cake for breakfast.
Chocolate cake.
But that was the first special for me that I was like, wow, that's what funny is, and I watched it like a million times on HBO and what have you. How about you, Caroline? Like, what was you?
We didn't have Fox, so we didn't watch that until the cable company finally fixed it, put Fox on. But I watched all those shows too, Stand Up Spotlight, and I wore the crap out of the tape Eddie Murphy, where he has the flower behind his ear and he talks about the Goonie Goo Goo and the dead bird gonna put it on you. Like, we used to quote that all the time. And then I used to watch all those shows, and I loved Robin Williams, like Robin Williams Live at the Met.
Oh my God,
that's
classic.
I used to watch that all the time. And Stephen Wright, my brother was really into Stephen Wright, and then I kind of liked the way he does. I like his cadence, and
Very
he was
good.
weird, but
Deadpan.
like you had to think about some of his jokes, and then like when I first started, my comedy's kind of dry. It's not as dry as it was, but when I first started out, it was much more dry because I was terrified to be on stage, and I just have a dry sense of humor. That's how it comes out. So I like really admired him. But just we would drive around in my friend's Rabbit listening to Eddie Murphy and laughing our asses off, and just I remember I was in the same deal. Like I did a lot of theater when I was a kid, but I always liked being the center of attention on stage. And then after college is when I took a class, and I ended up doing comedy, and the guy who taught the class gave me a bunch of open mics to go to, and I just kept doing it from there. I wish I had started sooner, but I didn't. But I always wanted to I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know what to talk about. And then I saw Kevin Meaney talking about big pants people.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, he just talks about his family. I didn't know you could do that. And he kind of tells stories. And then I was like, okay. So then it sort of formed in my head that maybe I could do this and maybe I'd have stuff to write about. And then taking the class, I got to perform at the end, and I met this headliner from Maine who doesn't do comedy anymore, George Hamm, who's one of the funniest people on the planet. And he's like, you got to come do my showcase show in Portland. I was like, all right. So I started going up there on Sundays, and then it just progressed from there. But like, I just remember laughing so hard at some of the comedians that were on. Like, and now I wouldn't find it funny.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff like back then was just everybody had a joke about the VCR and trying to turn the clock off. And like,
Yeah.
it was funny at the time, but you couldn't do that now. It's like super hacky. But I also started doing open mic nights when Dane Cook was in LA. So he would come back and like sell out Faneuil Hall.
Yeah.
And there'd be a line like all the way down from the Comedy Connection into the lobby. And I was like, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, and Gary Gulman was coming up then. And like,
Oh, I love Gary.
I did shows with Robert Kelly when he did stuff for Dick Doherty. And like, it's just so weird now to see how big these guys are now. And like, I'm like, oh, we did that shitty gig in Laconia. You know? I wonder if they remember that. They do, because it was a shitty gig.
Yeah, exactly. Remember every gig, right?
Yeah, so it's just weird to see how things progress and how comedy has changed, and some good, some bad.
Yeah.
But being a female comic, you always kind of walk out on stage and they judge you immediately with any comic. But when you're a female comic, they're sizing you up.
Yeah.
And the old adage from like the late 80s and early 90s is that women aren't funny.
Yeah.
And like, it's been a long road to kind of change that thought process. And I've gotten this before. I take it as a compliment now because I didn't know how to take it at the beginning. But men will come up to me after shows and they're like, I don't like female comics, but I thought you were funny.
Right.
So I'm like, wow, great. I feel good about myself.
I get it.
It is a
totally.
compliment, but it doesn't sound like it.
It
sounds
doesn't.
like,
But you're a germ that got in fucking past the fences, and
Yeah.
at some point that's going to grow into an idea. And but also get the respect of like guys that are like, oh, girls ain't funny, like fucking.
Yeah, like I just want to be a comic. I don't want to be a female comic. I don't want to be a
Yes.
comedian. I just want to be a comic. Like I just want to be on the same level as someone else. And it's never going to be that way.
Right.
But if I can convince, one guy at a time that women are funny, then fuck it, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, and more power to you. And not blowing sunshine up your ass, but like me and Lauren have been out seeing, what's been doing comedy wise since, since March, since the pandemic broke. But like honestly, women are the only ones for me that are actually killing it right now. Like I'm not, and like I said, I'm not like just saying this because you're in the room. Like you and Maya did like a thing at Breakaways like about 2 weeks ago. Fucking knock him out hysterical. Both he is like fucking one, go home. And like, and Kelly's been doing some like really fucking hysterical shit, but like
Kelly's killing it.
yeah, but you girls are killing it, man. Like fucking, and I'm just saying, like I've been saying that to Lauren, since the beginning, but like, yeah, my hat's off, man. Thanks for writing new shit that's relevant, but yeah, it's been good to see. But I get what you're saying too.
It's just funny that Robin Williams, I'm so not like him, but I loved his comedy.
Yeah.
And then the same with Eddie Murphy. Like, he talked about his family a little bit, but like, I'm not like Eddie Murphy at all. Like, Eddie Murphy Raw is like so not me.
Right.
But I appreciate it so much. Like, Raw was a little too much for me because he said the P word way too much.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have any meaning like halfway through. I'm like, you can stop saying it now because it's not funny anymore. Like, the shock value's gone. But Delirious was so funny, and he couldn't do half of that material now.
Well, that's the thing though too. Like, you know, I mean, if you took out and I'm gonna be honest, hysterical homophobia that was in,
it was
like, at
hilarious.
the time.
It's an hilarious bit, and I don't think he had any ill will towards anyone that's a homosexual. It was just funny.
No.
And like, I know we're not supposed to laugh at that stuff, but
I do.
Dave
Funny.
Attell has a really funny joke about mentally challenged kids at the aquarium. And I'll butcher it if I try to tell it, but it's really funny. And when you're laughing, you're like, I don't want to laugh at that, but it's really, really funny.
Right. No doubt. And also too, I think like as adults, like you know, that's the one thing too. I think that if you're a lot of people are like, oh, you can't joke anymore. And it's like, no, well, you can joke. You just can't be a dick with your jokes anymore. And it's about fucking time, to be honest with you, because like that was the way a lot of like, you know, the way the world basically. But I think people that are afraid to joke now aren't funny. Like, you know, like it's like because you can't go to old tropes and
there's some hate behind it, I think. Like, you know, like the whole thing with pronouns now. Like, I tried to do a joke about that, and it wasn't offensive.
Yeah.
It was just about me not being able to get it right. And that I learned everything from Schoolhouse Rock. So maybe if you said it to music, I could get it straight. And that was like the premise of the joke.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even get to the funny part, because people were just already on edge. And I was like, I dropped it because I was like, I don't want anyone to ever leave feeling like I offended them or someone in their family or like, that's why I stay away from politics. It's too volatile right now.
Yeah, I have the same feelings too, exactly. And I don't want to offend people, but also too, like, I don't want to take away from what was amazing creative works, like Sam Kinison. Like, if you like some of the stuff that you'd say about gerbils and gay folks, like you can't say anymore. But exactly, but it's hysterical, and like that's like I don't value cleanse my shit. Like, you know, like I like when people do the same thing with Michael Jackson. Like when do you when can you play? Can you play Off the Wall? Like, as opposed to Thriller? Because when can you purity test your way out of out of a genius? But I mean, but that's you take the good with the bad.
Exactly.
But I hear you though too, because like Kevin brought up like a lot of the guys that were rough coming out of New York, like at the same time that was like Greg Giraldo and Artie Lang and like all the guys that wound up like some of them dying from heroin and what have you, but and Jim Norton, like all the people that were on the fucking Opie and Anthony side of comedy. Yeah. Like that's for me, that's like South Park. That's like I get it's funny for people, but it makes me feel fucking. But I love Patrice O'Neill. But I mean,
Patrice was amazing.
Man, honestly amazing. But I was more of a Howard Stern guy. But like, but when I first started doing jokes, like that was the style. So like, I'm sure my first thing probably could have got me too'd or whatever, or it wasn't like racially sensitive and stuff like that. But my black friends that were there that came out to show and see me that night, they're like, "Dude, you're a little rough on the brothers." I'm like, "Yeah, I felt that, man." Like. But like but it wasn't like hate based,
Right.
Like,
yeah. But like anything close to anything now, like people get offended. Like I had someone get mad about my my sign language joke, and it's not making fun of sign language at all. It's making fun of the kid. I don't want to give it away, but it's not about sign language. It's not about deaf people. It's not about anything like that. It's about the fact that this kid is 10 and he's still using sign language, and he's not. And some lady like. Ruined my show one night and like because she didn't get the joke,
right,
and like I felt bad. I'm like, why do I feel bad? Because she's stupid.
Well, that's what
but seriously, that's the thing. I was taking a class. I did a Zoom thing this past winter, I think it was, or maybe it was last year. All the days are running together nowadays. And one of the girls on the thing, she was talking about a bit that she wants to do, and she was like, well, I didn't want to go too far because, I don't want to offend anyone. I'm like, but isn't that kind of what you want to do with your comedy is kind of push
Exactly.
and go, no, let's go a little farther. Because I'm sorry, the material that I've been working on through the pandemic and stuff, a lot of it, like this new bit that I'm working on, is about my 2 girls. My 2 girls are on the autism spectrum. It's funny shit.
Right.
But I'm not making fun of my babies because they're on the spectrum. It's just the stuff that they come up with is hysterical sometimes. But I know I'm going to have someone go, well, how dare you? How dare you? I'm like, they're my kids. I've been in this world, in the autism world, for a while now, and I kind of know what's funny and what's not. But isn't that what comedy is supposed to do?
It's supposed to be where awkwardness meets life. Like, and that's funny. Like how you deal with shortcomings that can be funny.
And that's why I love comedy.
Yeah.
Like, anyone can make someone cry. You can be a great dramatic actor or actress or whatever. You know what makes people cry.
Yeah.
It's pretty universal. But when you can get 50 people into a room and you make them all laugh at the same time, that is magic. That is the kick-ass, yes.
Yeah.
Because every single person is different. You might think something is funny. You might think it's horrific. You might go, yeah, okay. But when you all get together and you're like, oh, wait, I like that. That's really good.
Yeah.
And when you can get the whole crowd to love it,
right.
That's a fucking high that I have just become a real junkie for.
Yeah,
I am sorry. Yeah. And I'll work on something and make it, I'll keep going with it as long as I can. And I know when to drop something. I know when, that's not going to work. That bit's gone. We're just going to work on something else. Yeah. But when that girl said, well, I didn't want to offend anyone, I'm like, then I think you're kind of missing.
You got to throw it out there and then decide if it's too much.
Exactly.
Well, and also don't go out and offend what I hate fucking retards. Which a lot of people would love to do. I think a lot of people think that's the point of having the microphone is the bully people with it. But my whole thing is though too is the thing that I loved about Steven Wright was he made me fucking think, and I think that and that's my thing about my comedy heroes was a lot of them made me fucking. That was when I started off. It was I was at my grandmother's house and HBO was on, and so fucking they were having nothing but Richard Pryor and George Carlin at a city clip, but and here I am learning about pimping at age 9.
Right, because that's appropriate.
It's a good trait, good thing to have on your resume someday,
But it's a point of view that I never would have heard in my life. That if I wasn't trying to get laughs, that and that was the thing about Richard. It'd make you laugh, But you learn about the human condition, this is what it's like to do cocaine until your heart stops, and what have you. But that's my thing about comedy is you have to fucking have a conversation with people because that's the point. I'm tired of fucking getting there and being tender joke, I don't know. I think there's a disconnect between old school people that used it as a form of communication. And nowadays, where it's what can I chop up for Twitter and stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, so honestly, and that my first Carolyn, my first comedy hero was Robin Williams with Live at the Met.
It was so funny.
Dude, I'm gonna play just a second of that for you guys, because this is the one that honestly, this was when people say I did dope the first time and that was the hit. This was the joke that got me into comedy right here. Let me see if I fuck it up.
We'll blame the cocaine.
Over under it. Okay, exactly.
A little sip of Perrier here. I had to stop drinking alcohol because I used to wake up nude in the hood of my car with my keys in my ass. Not a good thing. Hi, can I help you? No, thanks. It's just flooded. I'll be okay. Beautiful, baby. Beautiful, yeah. Don't you see? You're sucked into believing that beer is a healthy thing. Because all the time you've got these beer commercials showing manly men doing manly things. You've just killed a small animal. It's time for a light beer. Why not have a realistic beer commercial? What's a realistic thing about beer where you go, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. You've just pissed on a dumpster. It's Miller time.
You know, like, and that still is funny today. As
It is
like,
funny, but I agree with you though, Jay. There are some comics who make you think,
yeah.
and it's a really good thing. And that's how I felt about Bill Hicks.
Oh,
Bill Hicks, I loved him, and he was
That is-
hot too. I had a wicked crush on him back in
There is
my
a point.
college.
Is there a point to all this?
Yep, there we go.
Let's find a
The
point.
ride.
Bill takes his time.
I would say there is. I have to. The world is like a ride at an amusement park, and when you choose to go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful our minds are. And the ride goes up and down and round and round. It has thrills and chills, and it's very brightly colored, and it's very loud, and it's fun for a while. Some people have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us, and they say, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid, ever, because this is just a ride, and we kill those people. Shut him up. We have a lot invested in this ride. Shut him up. Look at my furrows of worry. Look at my big bank account and my family.
Yeah, that's
Just
Bill,
he-
man.
I mean, he was funny, and then he would do something like that and go, "Oh yeah, that is really cool." And then he'd do something like that and just totally cut you up and everything. And that's comedy I like to listen to. I like listening to that. And that bit with Rob Williams, I remember watching that special with my kid brother on HBO when we probably weren't supposed to, but
Yep.
we did it anyway.
The gateway drug was HBO,
exactly.
man.
And he was just funny.
Yeah.
Like no matter what he did, he found humor in something.
Yeah.
And I like that. And you can find humor in a lot. I mean, you can be in the moment and go, oh my God, this is the worst thing that's ever happened in my life. But if you can find the funny, you know you're going to be okay.
Well, that's my entire point about coming out of the pandemic too. Is like fucking. I've always said that humor is nothing but pain multiplied by time, and it's like, and we've just gone through like the most fucked up thing that has happened in the last 100 years. Like, and like, I just think that like as it's going forward, I hope that comedy does like speak a lot more towards what we're actually going through. Like, I mean, how can you not joke around about QAnon? Like, have to worry about offending people? Like, and also too, as an adult, I hate having like fucking language taken away from me or being told like, and I know this sounds like what most of the guys on Powder would be saying, like, you can't tell me what to say. And stuff like that. But I mean, when it comes to purity testing words, it's fucking words. Like, I just.
Yeah, I like it when people go, you can't say that.
Well,
Who says?
who says, man? I'm not.
Who are they?
Yeah.
They say you can't say that. Who's they?
Yeah. Cancel me. I get nothing going.
Like, I don't feel like I'm very offensive on stage at all.
Right.
I mostly tell stories about my stupid family. So, but like every once in a while I'll do something that's slightly edgy, and I'll have someone come, you really shouldn't do that joke.
Like, thank you,
I
moral
go,
arbiter.
okay.
I'll keep that in mind.
Thanks.
That's an excellent point, Diane.
Yeah.
The best ones when they actually give you stuff to use too. Like, oh, you know what you should do?
Oh, I love it when they're drunk and they give you stuff to use, and you're like, do you have a point? Is there a point here?
Right.
No. You haven't lived until your own therapist has given you stuff to
Oh,
use in your
shit.
act.
Man.
So seriously, I've been in therapy for years for a number of reasons, which we'll go into on a later episode.
All for it.
And she's awesome. And she's really sweet. I mean, God love my therapist. My therapist actually came to one of my first gigs.
Oh, she wants to be a comic.
Wait, it gets better.
Uh-oh. Transference.
And I love her, and I love her dearly. I mean, she has been kind of like the saving grace with all the craziness that's been going on in my life in the past few years. Yeah. But every once in a while, we've been doing telehealth since the pandemic, and we'll be talking, and I'm on screen with her, and she'll go, and I'll say something funny, and she's like, oh yeah, you should really use that in your skits. You should write that one down. I said, I think I just might. And then she'll say something funny.
Right.
And then I'll go, that was really funny. And she goes, well, you could use that. You could use that in your skit if you want to.
In your skit, I love that.
I know, or in your show. You could. You really could. And I said, okay, I think I just might.
Right.
But seriously, I actually asked her, like one of our last sessions, I said, I think I'm going to put you in my freaking act because you're funny. And just like the way because she's kind of like what we were just joking about, the NPR ladies. And she's very like, hi, and how are you today? How are you doing? How's it going? Okay, let's talk about that a little bit more. And
Wow,
she's
that sounds
really,
like an app. You could get a fucking therapy
I know,
app
I'm
going.
telling you here, but I love it when people say that. You should write that down. But when your therapist does it, it's like
That's like, yeah.
wow, maybe actually I should put that down.
Wait until you make it.
This is my
and she
life.
sees you
I'm
for
coming
like-
to you for help.
Yeah, like, are you
You tell me
listening?
this is a joke.
Get into bed and he's like,
Well, some of my
who are you? Like,
Some of
sing
my
a white
stuff
female.
is she just looks at some of my stuff that I talk about and she'd be like, okay, we're moving on because we've been talking about that for a while now. And I can tell her she's like moving on without her actually saying moving on.
Right.
She goes, okay, and when would you like to meet again? I'm like, oh, we are out of time. Okay, I guess we're not going to be talking about that one again. All right, we're moving on, I
We
guess.
still have
How about
30
2
minutes.
weeks?
I was always afraid of that, like the breakthroughs. Like that's why oh shit.
Your time's up.
I'll hold on to this until next week.
Can you hold on 2 weeks? I have an opening at 11 on Friday. Okay.
But I wish you the best of luck in life.
Carolyn, I want to ask you, where do you see stand-up going in the future?
You know, after the pandemic, it's really hard to kind of gauge that. I thought we were going way too much into the political correctness, and we were also getting away from. There were the YouTubers that were headlining clubs and then going into the clubs, and people realized that they're not actual stand-up comics.
Yeah.
They have a ton of followers online, but live they suck a bag of dicks. So I'm hoping we're getting away from that. Because that was just painful for a while. Like this kid who sits at his desk and says funny things is headlining in Chicago, and you're like,
I'm sorry, what?
what the hell? Like, you've never even done a live show.
Yeah.
But hopefully people are more open-minded now because we just, stayed inside for a year.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that, I mean, comedy's coming back. It is like coming back hard, which is great. But I hope it continues, and I hope that these 3 shows that I did where they were kind of rough, I'm hoping that that's going to kind of work itself out too. Like, I'm hoping that people are going to, because it already started before the pandemic at concerts. It's not a shared experience anymore. Like, people yell shit out. And I went to see Foreigner at Mohegan Sun.
Oh, dude. I was there. They fucking tortured me with like 3 days worth of Foreigner. Like feels like the... I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
So
okay, I'm sorry.
They introduced the guy Mick, who's like one of the original members, might be the only.
That was the big night. They were
Might be-
wheeling him out.
So
Yeah.
he's like 100 now. So he comes
Exactly.
out
Broke his
and
hip.
they're introducing him and they're saying all the songs he wrote. And this lady from Rhode Island is behind me. She goes, "That ain't him." And I go,
JFK Jr.
and I should have kept my mouth shut, but I said, "No, they just introduced him. That's Mick or whatever." She goes, "Nah, I had a hot on for him back in the day. That ain't him." And I go, "It's him." So people are starting to like chuckle around me. She starts poking me in the back. I was like, "Oh God."
Man.
And then she goes, "Oh yeah, that is him." But I thought I was gonna get in a fight.
He looks
because-
like shit.
But he did. I mean, he looks good for his age, but he's like in his 80s or he's close to 80 now.
And then the fucking the newbie guy that they plucked out of like a fucking tribute band that's like fucking 45.
He actually has a good voice though.
He does, yeah, because that's a hard voice to emulate.
He actually sounds good, but like, and then like they're singing that song and they want I want to know what love is.
Right.
Everyone's like, bah, bah, bah. Like no one's singing. I was like, oh, get me out of here. And they have a choir. They have this local
there
choir
we go.
that comes out of
There we
kids.
go.
And I was like, there's kids. Stop yelling obscenity. It's just you can't go out and have a shared experience anymore because people won't shut up.
They won't. And
It's a very me society still.
it's me, and they've been like, I mean, I don't know, man. Like that was the one thing. Like when I originally got hurt, they told me like don't go on social media because like that's why I mainly post memes and shit like that because they're like someone's gonna like like take video of you or whatever. But also too, I was like, it trained me for 6 months. I didn't go on Facebook, and then when I started going back on, I thought about it. I was like, do people need to know my fucking opinion on this? Whatever is happening right now, and I literally give it like 10 seconds and be like, nah, dude. Like, and so I stopped like because who really gives a fuck what your opinion is on like
You're entitled to your opinion, but you don't need the world to see
the
it.
world? But people like they act like they're Facebook famous, like I think. And,
Yeah, unless you're like really passionate about something. Like, I don't know. I don't put my life on Facebook. I mostly use it to promote shows and stuff because I'm a private person in real life. So I'm not going to put on there. Like, I'll post something funny. Like, sometimes if I make a nice salad, I'll put a picture of that on there.
I saw the one last week. It was lovely.
Yeah, that was a nice salad.
Because for some reason, I used to work in a restaurant. I feel like I have to, like, presentation is important, but I'm alone.
Especially with
eating lunch
salad.
at my
Somebody's gonna
house.
see this.
I'm like, who gives a shit? Like,
The
it's a
textures.
salad.
Right.
So I think that's funny in my head. So sometimes I'll post that, but I'm just not one of those people that puts their whole life on Facebook. I don't want people to know my business.
Right. Which I think is counter to what everyone, like, you know. I mean, Kev does it, but he does it good. Man.
But
like, Kev's entertaining when you're watching.
I'm more of like, it's just busting balls.
Yeah.
Like,
See,
it's
I
just,
think that's cool.
I'll put something out there as a fish hook.
Right.
Because I know that, like I put stuff about the Bruins game last night because I know I'm going to get attacked.
Right.
And it just, it's I threw chum in the water.
Right.
And people took the bait.
Nothing
And
wrong with that. Agitator over here.
And it just, it was a little...
That's
and
fun.
his kids, like, you need insulin if you're going to watch them because they're the cutest fucking, like, honestly. But yeah, so like, Kev
So
does.
it's just like chum in the water or just videos of Liz,
Yes.
you know, taking over bars in various cities.
Fucking, I forgot about that tambourine too, man. Fucking, this girl comes with her own tambourine, and is like the only person outside of Davy Jones from the Monkees to wield a tambourine and not fucking piss you off, man. It's,
It sounded like whatever band like will be playing, somehow she ends up on stage with the band.
yeah.
People like, oh, is she in that band? No.
Wow.
We've gone into
Wound up
bars.
on stage, you know.
We've gone into bars and like bands have gone, oh, Liz is here, we can start.
That's awesome.
What?
Yeah, we're gonna have a thing at the Green Dragon where in the fall, hopefully, like, you know, after the summer's over, where we're gonna try and do a show with the Green Dragon. But we're gonna have his wife does like the touch tone DJing like I do. Like, I like to hang out in the background and not let people know that I'm DJing, but she does the same thing. So we're gonna have a DJ off between.
That's
Oh, yeah,
awesome.
like we'll go like, I don't know if you've been to the Industry in Dorchester. It's a little like upscale place.
Yeah.
There was like 7 people one night in there. She played like Easy-E for like 6 songs in a row. She's like, these people aren't really feeling the vibe. I go, yeah, because they're like in their 60s trying to eat like step.
Smacking the bitches and fucking pepping the
it was
hose,
like
man. Fucking,
hardcore. Then they
Yeah.
shut her off.
Right.
Like, it's playing Rod Stewart. Listen, I didn't play Rod
oh,
Stewart.
that's more offensive.
I'm like, yeah, they shut you off.
Yeah. Yeah, I pulled up actually listening to Boys in the Hood like about 2 weeks ago, right to the part when Easy's like beating the shit out of the old man and then smacking the daughter for not acting right. And I was like, I'm just going to turn that down. Okay.
Like, she's gone into bars in New Orleans. Within 20 minutes, has a microphone, like going through the bar, like high-fiving people,
Right.
singing Crisscross. No, I'll post that video. Like, it's just,
That's awesome.
That
like,
is a
how
good
this
video.
happen? Like,
And not missing a beat, too.
You're like this
fucking-
little white blonde, and you're like,
Fucking nickety macking it.
oh yeah, she's like, literally, like, because the DJs in New Orleans, it's a DJ, and they got a hype man.
Nice.
And she like legit hijacked the microphone from the hype man and is like getting the bar going. I'm like, what how'd this happen?
That-
Like, it just,
She has a magnetism. She's,
fun.
she's,
yes.
I look forward to drinking with this woman someday.
and people are always like, because I'm more, I say I'm more quiet, but I post that picture like record scratch. How'd I end up in this?
Yeah.
It's me on stage. Like, hey.
What we didn't tell people about the singing contest you got into, like, very quickly.
Yeah, I had to hit like a high note. So
Yes.
I ended up on stage. I don't know. It
Oh,
was
you
like
had a high
sing-
note contest. I'll leave the rest. This is an
So-
exclusive, folks.
It was at Irish Kevin's, the same place that had the chugging contest.
Not Israeli Kevin's.
And I forget what song it was, but there was a high note, and he wanted the wives to grab the husbands by the testicles.
There you go.
So I was up like second, and everyone like the first guy's like, oh, you hit the high note. And like she went to like town. I was like, you're not really supposed to do it. Like, we could have WWF this shit. And like, I would have hit the high note without you like squeezing and like crapping
They
it.
really throw some torque on them boys, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I know we got 4 kids, you don't want a 5th, but like, you didn't have to like fucking win. I'm
On
like,
stage.
She's a
Yeah.
woman on a mission. She wants to win the fucking
I was like,
contest. She will
Jesus
do
Christ.
it.
Meanwhile, Kev's like, someone's playing with Mike Johnson on stage, man. This is
I was
fucking.
like, oh.
Welcome to the Keys. That was night 1.
Oh yeah. And also, I posted the thing yesterday. If you want to a swinging convention, swinging is definitely Florida Keys.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the pineapple store?
The pineapples.
Okay.
Yeah, she had. Oh, these are my gold shorts. They have pineapples on them. I've got. These are my gold shorts. Lose some weight, do a little Peloton, and I can fit into my pineapple shorts.
Nice.
Honey.
Every girl's like,
Have a seat. We're gonna go over what pineapples mean. She's like, no, that's not. I go, yeah, you don't want to wear pineapples in Key West.
it's tough when you have to have your lady have this guy, the lady you don't know, but when you're a guy and you got to do your fucking caveman job.
Like you posted on the picture, like, hey, we're liking your vibe.
Hey.
Like this one older couple we kept running into, like,
right?
Oh, you guys drinking Bud Lights? We got it. Hey.
Oh, dude.
So, yeah. So.
No, but it's even worse when you have your godparents explaining that to you. I went to go visit my aunt and uncle who are my godparents down in Texas, and they live in like an over 55 community. And we're taking a walk one day with the kids, and I'm like, wow, everyone's got these little flags. Everyone's welcome this. And my aunt's like, don't talk about it right now. I will explain when we get home. And then she tells me, and I'm like, what the hell?
I didn't even know about that.
Auntie, what? Where are you
In
living?
Texas?
Yes.
Fucking
She's
stars
like,
at night, a big and bright.
exactly. And I'm like, Auntie, where are you? What has become of you people? And she's like, well, we're not doing it. I'm just telling you what the neighbors are doing.
Oh yeah, everyone
And I'm
else
like,
but us.
I never knew that, and I don't want to ever have a picture of a pineapple in my house.
Aren't they flower children? And like, if you figure out, like, weren't they people of the 60s?
That's true too.
Well, they stuck with it.
You know what I mean? And now they're like, let's go back. Let's go way back.
Well, they're definitely doing it in those 55 communities. Let me tell you.
Well,
My parents are in their 80s. They don't do anything.
Okay.
You think?
No, they don't. Trust me. They're divorced.
Dad's not throwing the hammer on the weekends.
No.
I hear you. My dad better not be. You hear that, Dad? You better not be throwing the hammer.
My mom slept through the 60s, and my dad, they're just old now.
My father still gets it in.
Okay, we really did not need to know that, but thank you so much for sharing, Kevin.
My father had the nickname the Legend.
Oh, Jesus.
The legend. He's the Lower Mills legend, huh?
Okay, nice. Legend.
Nice, folks. On that Me Too note, folks, we're going to probably wrap it up here. What do you guys got anything going on this week? What do you got going on? You got the crushing heartbreak.
The one thing I didn't bring up last week, if you want to give me like 2 minutes.
Oh, is this enough to change?
Yeah.
Hold on, Karen. We have to set the table here.
Okay.
This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is an Off the Chain with Kevin Kane.
Now, we've talked about this in text. Now, you guys, I don't know if you guys got it in the sticks in the country where you guys live.
Well,
the Boston 311 app, also known as the snitch line.
Oh, yes.
we don't have that down there. Sorry.
So
Please tell us.
So basically, it's like my neighbor put his trash out too early.
Yes.
There's a loud party. They're parked across the driveway. It's a little snitch line. It's a little bitch line. So there's a little controversy in Dorchester Youth Hockey right now.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Do tell.
So I've been coaching. I played hockey my whole life. I've been coaching hockey since 2007. 2007, I coached high school hockey. I started coaching Dorchester hockey in 2017. So every year we make the teams. There's usually 3 to 4 teams on each level, A, B, and C. Well, someone's little Johnny or Jimmy or Jane did not make the A team this year. Yes, they got cut and either made the B or the C team.
Oh, no.
And
He's going to have to study?
Yeah, there's been numerous complaints to the City of Boston 311 official app, the snitch line, complaining about Dorchester Youth Hockey to the City of Boston, saying that the coaches don't know what they're doing, it's not a fair process. I get it. My kid got screwed last year.
I hear you. That's sports, right?
You bitch to your wife.
Yep.
You bitch to your friends in a text message.
Yep.
We all do it.
Yep.
You bitch to the people who fucked over your kid.
You worry about your kid being possibly gay. All that, yes.
You bring it to the person who fucked over your kid.
Yeah.
To bring it to the 311 official app, whoever this Karen was.
I was going to say that.
Now, I have some suspects.
Oh, here we go.
I'm not going to name them. I have some suspects.
Man, you like
But-
every Netflix documentary. All right.
I've been in the room when the teams are made.
Okay.
I've been in fights when the teams are made. The last 5 in the A team and the top, the bottom 5 in the A team and the top 5 in the B team, a lot of times they're interchangeable.
Gotcha.
There's no way you can't get 10 pounds of potatoes at a 5-pound bag. There's only so many slots in a team.
Yep.
So to bring it to Mayor Janney of the city of Boston
Yes. Through the app.
over youth hockey,
Yes.
what are we doing here?
That-
Come
that-
on.
And she's looking at going, who the fuck is this?
I think she's going. I have better
Now,
things
hockey
to do.
parents have a reputation,
Right.
and they're all fucking true. Hockey
Yes.
parents are the worst.
I've seen
I've had people talk shit about me coaching. It's like we're coaching 8-year-olds. What are we doing? So when people say like, "Oh, men are trash," and you say, "Well, no, I'm a man, not me." Like we don't hockey. I don't mean all hockey parents, but I'm saying hockey parents are fucking trash.
They-
Like, come on, what are we doing? Complaining to the fucking city? Grow up.
Your kid's gonna learn how to handle a beaker and a Bunsen burner,
Like,
and
no.
chemicals.
Hey, not every kid
Cure
can make
cancer.
the A's. Not every kid can make the A's like my kid. All right.
I hear you.
But and also the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Oh.
Like, fuck you. I hate you guys. I hope to sell my tickets tomorrow night. Give me $1,000 to not go to the game.
Those are bold words. What happens if they win tomorrow night?
If they win tomorrow night, they go up 3-2. They'll lose game 6. Then I'll go to game 7 and they'll lose game 7 to fucking break my heart.
Man, this went from fucking three and done, kid.
3.
No, we didn't go
Fucking,
that way.
I fucking hate sports.
I'm sorry to hear that, my friend.
David Pasternak had an open net that you could have drove a Buick through when he hit the post.
Yep.
In the first period, and the game was over after that.
Well, yeah, I think the Boston sports are going back to where they used to be, historically.
Yeah, Patriots
Cam
suck.
Newton. Yeah, exactly.
Celtics. The Celtics, your next coach is going to be a female, they're saying.
Yeah.
So just to be... Oh.
Well, we can't get any WNBA. Kev's breaking the equipment over here, folks.
Breaking the microphone. So
You got
there
all
we
excited talking about the Key West.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can't get WNBA here, but we can get women coach for the
Yeah,
Celtics.
I'm hearing it's going to be Sam Cassell or a female coach.
Alrighty.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. That's all I got.
Well, that's Boston's. That's Kevin Kane with Boston Sports, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Dorchester, big fucking Dorchester Youth Hockey was so
The
important.
big whodunit and the 311 app, man.
Yeah, the 311. I want you to download the 311 app and see what's written on there. It's the biggest. M Street Beach is probably written about 400 times tonight.
Oh, I guarantee.
Yes.
Because right now, people are wandering around peeing on people's doorsteps right now.
They hit right to the bushes, and yeah, they take care because they don't put any. That's the beautiful part. They don't put
There's
any,
nowhere for them to pee.
yeah, there's no porta potties, no nothing.
Speaking about peeing in beaches,
Yes.
just real. So last year we were at Hampton Beach. My 4-year-old was 3, and he's saying, "Daddy, I gotta pee, I gotta pee, I gotta pee." And I'm like, "I'm not bringing him to the fucking bathroom. It's way over there." So I said, "All right, Danny, just go into the water and pee. I'll go with you." He went about ankle deep and pulled his pants down.
No.
Nice. Well, he's a Kane, man. You gotta
I thought,
God love
stupid me thought he would go waist deep.
Yeah.
And I was gonna help him pull his bathing suit down and just fucking pee in the water. No, he went ankle deep.
man. That's fucking future level 3. Unfortunately,
Yeah, fucking bare assed everyone ankle deep.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
went in New Hampshire, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So that was the. You can let me tell you this about bad podcast for the week. I just have a few questions comedy wise, and I'm sure Lauren, if you want to hop in before we let Caroline go, I just want to know how what goes into the professional comedian that we have sitting here next to us today, man. So Caroline, when we were on the steps earlier, you were telling me that you grew up in New Hampshire, right?
Yes, Wolfboro, New Hampshire, the oldest summer resort in America.
Ooh, it sounds like meatballs up there, man.
There's a lot of camps up there, actually.
Nice. Now, how far away from where in New Hampshire is that? Is
It's
that deep?
It's central New
Quebec.
Hampshire. It's on Lake Winnipesaukee.
Oh, okay.
So there's Laconia on the other side, Meredith, Moultonboro, Tuftonboro, all the boroughs, and then
All the
Wolfboro.
boroughs.
That's what Mitt Romney has a summer house.
He sure does.
Sure does.
They weren't expecting that. No.
He's in a giant house right next to Brewster Academy, this private school, so he doesn't have any neighbors on one side. He has an awesome spot on the lake.
I would expect nothing less. From
Yeah. You can't get down there now, though, since he ran for president.
Yeah, and now it's like senator and QAnon foe, what have you.
Yeah. But he, the big thing he does is he'll, jet ski over to the the town docks and go get ice cream, and like that was on the news, and I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Ooh.
No, thank you on the jet skis too, man. Too many.
Yeah.
Too many.
Well, sea-doos, no, not jet ski. I'm dating myself by saying jet ski.
Nice. And now, are you an only child? Do you have brothers and sisters?
No, I'm the youngest. My brother is 8 years older than me, and then my sister's 2 years older than me, and I'm the child of a minister. So it was we went to church every Sunday, and then my parents got divorced, and then I didn't go to church anymore. I said, I'm not going.
Gotcha.
My dad said, yeah, you are. I'm going to pick you up. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm done. Like 11. Like, not going to church anymore.
That seems to be around the time people.
Yeah. Because it wasn't comfortable. Like, my parents got divorced in a small town, and, like, everyone talked. And I was like, that used to be the place where I used to hang out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just didn't feel comfortable anymore. So I was like, I'm not going.
Which
Didn't go over well.
Right.
But I stopped going.
No, that I fully understand that. Now, like when you were in school, like how young were you when you figured out like, I can be kind of funny? Like, did you crack up your family? Were you the class clown?
I got excused from the table a lot. We had these big Sunday dinners, and I would say something stupid and get sent to my room.
Perfect.
And my brother was pretty funny, so he was in a band, and I thought he was the coolest. So we would get in trouble a lot because he would say stuff like, one night we had like some mucky muck from the church over, and my dad said, John, would you like to say grace? He said, sure, I'll say grace. And he said, yubba dub dub, thanks for the grub, yay God.
Nice.
And he got in trouble. But my dad was actually pretty funny, believe it or not. And people were always like, is he like really like strict? I go, he's kind of strict, but like if he smashes his hand with a hammer, he still says fuck. You know what I mean? Like he was so. And my mom would just mix up words and stuff. So she was funny, but didn't know she was funny.
Gotcha.
But mostly, I think I just picked it up from, wanting attention in Sunday school and stuff, and like whether it would be negative attention or regular attention. I mean, I got in trouble a lot in church, in Sunday school.
Was it like the church? Is it because you're like rebelling against the church, or was it just because that was the only thing there?
And then later, I think I rebelled because I wanted to just say that I could hang. You know what I mean? They're like, your dad's a minister, and I'm like, yeah, so I can still shoot a beer. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of drinking in Wolfboro. A lot of drinking, and someone always has a boat or a keg party on an island. Like it's a great place to grow up. Yeah. It's really boring when you're like 15. That's when you start to get into trouble because you can't drive.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to do in the winter. So you break into people's summer cottages and have parties. That's what I did anyway.
That's what I would add. That would be the first.
We always cleaned up and left like one thing in a different spot. So they knew someone was there, but they didn't know who it was.
Like then all of a sudden the toothbrushes are gone. Like, oh no. Like,
yeah, or like a picture's upside down.
Nice. Because that'd be at war with like not wanting to get caught versus I gotta fuck with people just a little bit.
Yeah, we weren't destructive. We just needed a place to drink.
That brings me to something. Patrick Chung had a cottage up
in
Meredith,
yep.
And he got arrested.
Yes.
About 2 years ago because they found cocaine.
He said it wasn't his though.
I mean, could it be these local ruffians had a party and left cocaine?
They could have.
Yeah.
And he really was saying, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Because he wasn't home when they found the cocaine. So I don't know how he got charged.
I don't think he ended up getting charged. I think they
originally,
they dropped the charge.
But I would have been like,
well, the only reason they
I wasn't there.
The cops didn't fucking get a warrant and they came marching in. So
but now the truth comes out. Let me tell you this about that exclusive.
Yes.
These
it was actually me back in 1989.
Carolyn Plummer,
we just left some lines on the table so they know we were there.
Yeah, the signature move, man. You gotta fucking set the tone.
Like we left a Twizzler in one house. People were like, it's in the middle of winter. Like these are unheated cottages, you know?
Yeah.
So it was a great place to grow up, but I think comedy just came about because I did so much theater as a kid. Like I was in a ton of plays. And I was well-rounded. I played sports. We talked about it. I played sports, and I was in theater, and I played the trumpet. I don't know why I picked the trumpet. It's very feminine. But I was in jazz band, and we had this awesome jazz band teacher that used to be in the Boston Pops. He retired up in Wolfboro. So he taught us, like, music theory, and, like, we would do, like, just do jazz, and he'd make you do a solo, like, on the fly. He was great. And then he had a massive heart attack and died when I was a junior. And then we got this awful band teacher after that. But it just, I probably would have stuck with it more.
Okay.
If he had stayed, if he hadn't died.
Do you still play any music at all, or do you?
I can still play, but as with anything, like the trumpet especially, if you don't play very often, you lose what's called your embouchure. So basically your lips get weak.
Oh, okay.
So you can't hit all the notes anymore, so you have to practice to get back to that.
I forgot that's a very vital part of the trumpet.
Yeah. So I don't play very often. Kelly McFarland and I used to do a sketch where we were street performers. I don't know if you ever saw this. We did it at the Christmas party. And we dressed like hip-hop dancers. And I'd play the trumpet, and she would break dance.
I would pay solid money to do that.
Because she did break dancing in Maine, of all places, but she's really good at it.
No shit.
Oh my God, that would be awesome
So
to see.
she can do like the rerun from Good Times, and like it's just there's something weird about it. So we used to do that every Christmas at the Christmas party at the Hong Kong. We haven't done it in a while. I said we should make a mockumentary though. I think it would be really funny because it's two white ladies dressed in hip hop, and I'm playing the trumpet, which is stupid anyway, and she's breakdancing to it. And I'm playing something bad. Like, I think one year we played La Cucaracha, and she breakdanced to it at Christmas because I thought it was a Christmas song. Like, that was the whole banter back and forth. I'm like, it's not a Christmas song?
That's funny. Actually, that one time you did Dick Doherty's thing, and that's how I got to say hi to you, was that you busted me playing fucking Christmas wrapping by the Waitresses in the middle of August. You're like, hey, wait a minute, man.
I love that song.
I do too. Yeah, totally.
It was like August.
Totally. It's like, it was a good vibe, man. But yeah, you were the only person that paid attention to that, man.
Is that in the basement of the Howl at the Moon?
Oh God, yeah, that was.
It's the worst place to do comedy. They had a door every time you opened it, it beeped.
Yeah.
And they had a piano bar upstairs. So once they started playing, you'd hear them banging on the piano. You're like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, it was, and like honestly, people were getting like defiantly shit faced, like on like slide tube fucking straws and shit, like woo, with like goggles on, like.
And they didn't care about the comedy at all. They could not wait to get us out of there.
Yeah. And the shame part is like it actually looked nice, like when you were setting it up, like like.
Yeah, it was a good spot, but then it didn't work. I went upstairs once with Kathy.
Yeah.
Dick's wife. And this girl kept pushing me. She kept pushing me. There's nowhere to go. It was packed up there.
Yeah.
And she kept pushing me. I go, push me one more time.
Good for you.
So I had enough. I don't like being in crowds like that anymore.
No.
And she looked at me and I go, oh, I'm serious.
Nice.
Not a badass at all.
Right. But still.
Actually a nice person, but I was like, stop pushing me. I have nowhere to go.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Like that. No, that's bringing back some memories, man. But again, so did you go to college in New Hampshire, or did
I went to Plymouth State.
Okay.
Where I drank a lot. I was there for 5.5 years. I did a little extra time. I didn't do so hot my first couple of semesters. I learned some shit, like don't take 8 o'clock classes.
That's key off the bat.
And then I had to take a class over because I suck at math.
Me too.
And I failed it the first time because I just stopped going. I was like, I don't get it. I'm not going. And then I took it again. It was the same professor. I was like, oh, this isn't going to go well.
They used to give me the answers and I couldn't pass. Like they were literally like, here's the answers. Like,
And then I actually flunked out on paper. And because I took that class again. I got like 0.3 of a point below what I needed to get to stay in school. And so I was like, what am I supposed to do? They're like, you can come back and take classes, but you can't earn your degree. And I was like, well, that sucks. Because I was paying for it.
Yeah.
Paid for my whole college education.
I was going to say, you could get on the 311 app and fucking...
Yeah, I could have called the city.
Called the city.
I called one of my professors who happened to be in Wolfboro because his wife taught at the private school, small world, whatever. And I said, it was my Latin professor. And I said, they're kicking me out of school because I didn't bring my grades up enough. And he goes... But how much? I'm like 0.3 of a point. He goes, I'll go change your grade tomorrow. That's ridiculous. And he changed my grade, and I was able to. He goes, but you have to go to class. You have to take. I'm like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And so I ended up getting my degree, and I was on the dean's list the next semester.
Oh, good for you. All right, nice.
I was like,
what did you graduate with?
Oh, God.
Like a nursing degree?
No. I have a degree in English with a writing option and a history minor.
Oh, you're a girl
Sister,
after my own
right
heart.
here.
Yeah,
English degree. Yeah. BA in English.
Because they didn't have journalism, and that's what I thought I wanted to do. And I'm glad I majored in English, but that's why he was like, you're an English major, you're great at communicating and writing. And he goes, you can't do math, and they're persecuting you for that. So I bought him beers all summer whenever I saw him.
As you should have. Like that guy was
He's the only reason I got my degree. I would have been shit out of luck with. I'm still paying that stupid loan off.
In your afterlife, you'll be paying that loan.
No, 2 more years.
Oh, no kidding. You guys are light at the end of the tunnel, huh?
But I graduated in 1990. I mean, it's been a long time.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's a struggle, man. Now, when did you start in like doing an open micer type deal in college, or did you wait until after college?
I waited till after college, and I wish I'd started sooner, like I said, but I didn't really know how to.
Yeah.
But I had a friend, Greg, who encouraged me. He's like, you should do stand-up. You're really funny. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And then when I graduated, I was in Wolfboro waiting tables, and I saw an ad in the paper for a comedy class in Manchester. And it was like, teaching it at my mom's condo. I'm like, oh, that sounds safe. So
I'm absolutely not going to get raped here.
Exactly. So I actually called the number, and the guy's a sweetheart. Like, looking back, it was like probably not a good idea, but he was home from LA, and his name's Dave McLaughlin. He's a great guy. He's a sweetheart of a guy. And he was doing stand-up, and he was teaching this class to make some money before he went back to LA, and he was home staying at his mom's. And I hadn't had Wednesday off all summer. But I was like, well, if I have Wednesday off, I'll call the guy and I'll check it out. I had Wednesday off, so I felt like it was a sign. Yeah. I'm not one of those people, like I don't read tarot cards or anything, but it was just weird. It was a weird coincidence. So I took the class, and they taught you how to write jokes, put the funny at the end, and stuff I didn't know. And it gave me the confidence to get on stage. And then I drank a lot of tequila, and my friends drove me from Wolfboro. And I told my jokes. To this day, I don't know what I said because I drank a lot.
Yeah.
But Dave said I did well, and so did George Ham. And then he gave me a list of open mic nights, and he said, I really think that you could do this. You should keep doing this.
That's cool.
So he's the reason I kept doing it. And then I started doing stuff for Rob Steen. I won a contest. And then I just started doing open mic nights and stacking chairs for Dick Doherty and running the room.
It's
He gave me a ton of stage time when I first started, though.
Yeah, no, that he was like my comedy godfather too, and the same thing. Like I wound up doing like the Beantown comedy riots, and like and it was nice too because it was the whole group of guys. I call it like my class, like that. Like we all started cracking the mic. Not too many females. Like there was one, Sarah Martin, and I think she went to.
She's in LA now.
Yeah, totally. And but it's still good to see. Like I see like Paul Landwehr and RDP, and like a whole group of people that like started off like around like 8 years ago and stuff like that. And it's fun to see like where they are. Like Alex Gianpapa. Like I don't know if you know him, but like
all the people that started with me, like the kid who won the contest with me, gone.
Yeah.
Another kid who beat me out one night, and the owner was pissed because he didn't think he was funny, and they made me come back and compete again. I go, I don't want to compete again.
Yeah.
But I came back and competed again. He's gone. like a lot of the people that I started with just don't do it anymore.
Well, and I don't know if the pandemic's going to shake some fleas too, man. Where like a lot of people like, oh, I've been out, like fuck it, like why even bother getting back in,
I had that thought at the beginning. I was like, did I just waste 23 years of my life?
Yeah. Wow.
It just ended.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I had a really good spring booked, so I was like, I've been going out like 4 nights a week or whatever for over 20 years. Like, did I just waste all my time? Like, and then after a few months after I worked through that, I was like, no, it's what I want to do. And now I have a better appreciation for it. Like, I'm psyched that I have gigs. I have fun. Even the shows that were hard are fun because I'm doing stand-up again. Gotcha. I didn't realize how much I missed it.
Gotcha. No, I totally get it. And like, and that's that thing coming back too after the pandemic, and like I find too that like it's kind of weird because like doing comedy here, like it's like not like Boston gets the most respect. Like I think that a lot of people think like, oh, I'll get like 5-10 minutes and then fucking jet to New York or LA. So I don't think that like a lot of people, like I don't know. I like to do it here is kind of a calling because like you're like, what is your like after Dane Cook, like there hasn't been like any Boston heat, like you know what I mean? Like it hasn't been any.
Well, Sam J moved to LA, she never really got any respect in Boston or booked very often.
Which is a shame.
And she moved to LA and she became like the rant comic, and now she's a writer for SNL in New York. And the rumor is she's gonna have her own talk show on
Get the fuck out of here.
And she like barely worked in Boston. She actually bashed Boston when she left.
I don't blame her.
Which is fine, you know. Like she's not like a do a joke in the suburbs kind of comic. Yeah. And they didn't get her here.
No, and I think too. There's like, you know, like that's the thing I hate is like you get a lot of fucking people that like the professionalism is like, you know, you get up and you get a hoodie on, you're like, oh dude, man, and like I got some killer shit, man. You guys are gonna flip out, and then you blame the crowd when you don't get laughs, and then you leave. Like, you know, it's like there's no camaraderie, like the things we used to love about Boston. Like, and that was my thing. Like after Dane Cook and people always bring up, oh, Bill Burr is fucking, you know, Boston. It's like, well, he ain't doing jokes here.
People up in New York though. He was funny here, and he was like one of that crew. But when he got noticed was in New York, because that's the thing about Boston. Like, you do comedy here, you can get really good as a comic, but if you don't move to LA or New York, you're not going to get in front of industry. Right. And it's all about choices. Like if I look back, I would have moved to New York or LA. I don't want to live in New York. It moves too fast for me. It's not my pace. Yeah. But if I wanted to do this on a different level, that's what I needed to do. Gotcha. But when I went to the Burbank Comedy Festival this last time before the pandemic, people were like, "You're from Boston, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I don't have an accent. Yeah. And they're like, it's your comedy, it's the way you do it, because they're so like take forever to get through their joke, and then like we're like, here's our joke, here's the punchline, I'm moving on to the next thing.
6 seconds, boom.
Yeah, because we're used to playing Knicks where it's loud and they drop a tray and Sammy's breaking up a fight in the back. Like out there, people are like, they're all stoned and they're listening. Right. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm like,
comic's worst nightmare.
We got to get our shit out fast, so it becomes a way of speaking, and they don't do it out there. So they knew I was from the East Coast.
Gotcha. Do you think that Boston will ever? I mean, like, because that's my whole thing is like you just nailed it too. Like, you know, like you got to go and get industry and what have you in New York. And like New York and LA to me are like equally as pretentious, like sometimes, you know. So it's like I don't want to fucking do either. Not that I have that fucking any great like, you know, calling for my shit, but I'm just saying, like, I never understood why like people of like, you know, and there isn't like really an industry, like, you know, like I don't like. There's a lot of like flim flam that I'm like, you know, just like people. I don't know. I'll get into like another thing later.
It's the BS. It's the jumping up people's asses. It's the you're the new it thing, so I'm going to talk to you, but I really don't have any interest in knowing you. And that's the stuff that I have a problem with. Growing up in small town in New Hampshire, I don't have a good tolerance for bullshit. So like when I was in Burbank, which isn't in LA, but close enough.
Just enough, yeah.
I'm producing a show. I'm like, oh, you book an open mic night? You know what I mean? Like, and I produce this. I'm like, you're using big words, but that's not what you're doing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to do your open mic night tomorrow night at the laundromat or whatever. Like, I'm not into that. Like, and in Boston, at least there's a ton of places to work. And I'm not saying I wouldn't have moved to New York or LA, but now at this point in my life, I get plenty of work here. I don't have any ambitions of being, you know, on Saturday Night Live. Yeah. Like, I would love to do that, but I feel like at my age and where I'm at, that it probably won't happen. I don't do a ton of characters. I don't do impressions, and I'm not a big fan of this show anymore. You know what I mean? I feel like they're going to hate me if anybody's listening to this, but I feel like their sketches are good sometimes, but they don't have an end. Like, they're not structured like they used to be, where there was like a payoff at the end. And for me, it's hard to watch. That's also the newer comedy.
Like a freeform thing.
They do things that are about being woke and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's all fine and good, but there's no payoff. Yeah. Like, how do you know where to end? You just turn it off?
What I do is I just fucking YouTube Michael and what's his name, the Weekend Uptake guys.
Colin Jost.
Michael Che and Colin Jost.
Yeah, like those guys legitimately, like, you know,
they write jokes though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's different.
That's different. But other than that, like the sketch thing, I mean, the political stuff is funny. Like when there was nothing but Trump and the atmosphere and stuff.
But did
like
you
that.
see who they brought into that? They bring in bigger acts, and like whenever Tina Fey's on, it's good. Whenever like some of the veterans come on, it's always a better show.
Yeah.
Or like a host that's like really funny.
And then they do stunts like Elon Musk, who like
That was just.
I didn't even watch that one. I DVR it every week.
Yeah.
And I watched like 2 sketches, and I go, no, I'm done.
Yeah, no, I'm with you too. Because it's the same thing too. I'd like to like an in moving color sketch more than fucking.
I always liked Mad TV.
Oh,
Mad
I still
TV
love
was
Mad TV.
Stewart.
funny.
Like they had really good
do.
characters. Look what I can.
Louis
Stewart.
Sasso, man, like fucking. I remember he got me with the. He came back from hiatus and he lost a lot of weight, and it was like, can a fucking fat guy like be funny skinny, and like that was his whole skit because he looked like he looked like Iron Man, but yeah, there was so many people that were good on that show, man. Mad TV.
And Will Sasso's on that new show, Loudermilk. That is.
What's that?
I haven't watched that yet.
Oh my God, it is such a good show. It's about a guy who runs an AA meeting.
Oh, I'll watch that.
But it is, I mean, Jackie Flynn's in it, Brian Regan's in it, Will Sasso's in it. I mean, I binge watched the first 2 seasons. Season 3 just dropped, I think, like last month. I have to like plan a day around that when the kids aren't around. It's just a great scripted TV show. I mean, it's just so good.
It's the Farrelly brothers, right?
I think so. I think
Is
it
it?
is.
It's one of them.
One of them. It's one of them. It's not both of them. And
The one that did Green Book, which was a good movie.
No, I think it's
thought.
the other
the
one.
one.
Okay.
The other one. But you would think, oh my God, an AA meeting. It's
Fucking,
funny as fuck.
yeah.
Seriously, it's a really good show.
Nothing more real and live wire than an AA meeting. Man.
Exactly. But it's damn funny.
Yeah, no, I'm with
Damn
you.
funny.
Yeah,
Might have to check that out.
yeah. The
It's
only,
really good.
Baby,
It's on
got the
Amazon.
link,
It's
yeah.
on my list.
I think you get the AA format down. Like you confess all your shit. You just don't feel bad about it. Don't have any shame. So, which is fine. That means you don't have a problem. So fucking have
I
at
haven't
it.
drank in a week. I really don't drink that much.
No.
I went from November to March. No, what fucking month is it?
It's
It's
June.
June
It's
now.
June.
June. All right. I went November to May without drinking.
That's
Good for
shocking.
you.
I only drink when I'm in other states.
Yeah, no, exactly. And he has fun when he's doing it. And that's all that fucking matters, man.
Carolyn, who are some of the people that you like to perform with?
Well, it's always nice when I get to perform with Kelly because she's like my best friend. But
Oh,
we,
that's cool.
we don't get booked a lot together. Tony V is one of my absolute favorites because he always has something new and he's fun to watch. I've been doing some shows with Lenny, which has been fun. We're pretty far apart on our comedy because he's like really gruff and like loud, and I'm not.
Yeah.
It
You
actually
didn't marry
works.
cocaine suppliers in the 80s?
No, I didn't marry my cocaine dealer. I don't even know who that was, actually. Short part of my life. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I mean, it depends on the night, Like, I just did the Fox and Hound Lounge in Quincy.
They're doing comedy at the Fox, and I didn't even know it was
in
still
the
open.
back room.
Yeah, that's
No
the one I was
bullshit.
telling you about.
It is
Oh, is
so
that the crack?
good.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, they got a whole new.
It's this room in the back, and it's awesome. It's set up perfect for comedy. And
I'm
it's
from
been-
Quincy, so
It's been sold out the 2 times that I did it. One night was with Steve Sweeney, and he was really fun, and it was really good. And then I just did last Saturday with Christine Hurley, and that was great.
Nice.
I don't usually work with her either, because in Boston, they never used to put women together unless it was
Yes.
a ladies show, which I always
Yes.
thought was so stupid.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you don't get to work with your friends in the business.
Well, and it's also so insular too, because like that was the whole thing. Like I never fucked with Giggles like at all. Like just because it was on Route 1, and I don't like to take my life like in my hands that way.
I had a problem with my old car, and it wouldn't always accelerate, and I hadn't gotten it fixed yet. And I'm on Route 1 going, I hope it goes. It was the coils or whatever. So like they wouldn't fire, and I didn't know if the car was going to go.
I would rather have unprotected sex with hookers than like pull onto like Route 1 like from
You
and you
take your
gotta
life
time
away.
it like oh. So anyway, long story short, but I never knew I always knew of Lenny obviously, but like that whole brand of people up there like Christine I never knew of. Only
Ken
because
Rogerson's one of the funniest people in comedy.
I wound up being friends with Lauren because she did Tony's class. And then I actually took my son to Capo because I was like, hey, listen, they got a fucking group of new comedians. Let's go watch a bunch of fucking idiots hit the wall. And I left there like, fuck, they were all polished. Like, people got laughs. Like, and then we met each other, but we met each other right when fucking COVID kicked off. So all we had was the tent of giggles. Like, and so we got like to go up and see like fucking Kenny and got to see like, oh my God, who's the older cat?
Don Gavin.
Don Gavin.
He's one of my favorites.
My God, like still hysterical.
Paul Gilligan is one of my favorites.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Because he just talks about like everyday stuff, but the way he gets so excited and like his energy is like, I love that kind of energy because I don't have it.
Right.
So he's like just ranting and he's so funny.
Like Kenny Rogerson is hysterical. I love listening to him.
Yeah, he's a really good writer.
Guys like Joey and Eddie that I haven't, like, we've only seen once, but like, you know, like he came down but like.
Gav used to help me write jokes though. Like I'd go over from Nick's to the hell was it called? It's the cafeteria for Emerson though.
Oh, I know.
Remington's.
Yeah,
I used to go to Remington's and we'd drink. I don't forget what he drinks, but I'd have a couple beers and he'd like, I noticed when you did that joke. You could add this. And I'd be like, okay. So I'd try it. And like every tag he ever gave me was like brilliant.
Right.
I mean, some of those jokes I don't do anymore, but like at the time, I was like, why are you helping me? He goes, because I like you. I don't like many people. I was like, well, that's cool.
Yeah. And like that was because like Dick Doherty, like and you get tips in life through joke tips sometimes too. Like I remember I came off the stage one time and he was just like, I never want to hear you say, like, talk about your weight again. And I was like, why? And he's like, just don't do it. And I was like, okay. But it changed like my comedy perspective because I wasn't trying to fucking butter the crowd up because I felt tight in my jeans.
Right.
You know?
I think there's a place for that though. Like, but if that's all your act is, then people just feel bad for you. They don't want to laugh anymore.
Right.
Well, that's the other thing too, because the other thing that sucks about Boston too is we get loaded in, and for better or for worse, with like college students and like, and what they think their idea of comedy is. Like that was when I first did my first open mic, I was so drunk because it was behind the Fenway at this like hotel that isn't there anymore. But
I know which one you're talking.
Oh my God, it was like 2:00 in the morning, like I was in LA. Like I'm like but I was so drunk by the time I got up there that I was embarrassed. Like I still have video of it, but like I forgot my point. Shit, but
that's how I feel about Tony V. I mean, I call him my comedy boss because I only took 3 classes. I'm still waiting on number 4.
But he's a good one.
But he's really good at showing you simple things to make a joke of. Yeah. And you could just change this word or pause here, take a breath, changes the whole thing.
Yeah.
And he's also not afraid. He's not one of those, like, you take a class with Tony V. Oh, you're wonderful, fabulous.
No, he'll tell you.
He will tell you when you have done something like, what the fuck was that? And one time I went up there and I thought I had like this great little piece and everything. And, you know, you stay up there and he gives you a critique and he goes, yeah, so what was wrong with that one? And I said, it really wasn't funny. He goes, bingo. And he said, but here's what you can do to change it. Right. Or maybe just drop this one. He's not afraid to tell you, this didn't work for you. But here's what can work for you. And I've always appreciated that because I don't want someone blowing smoke up my ass and calling it sunshine. I want someone to tell me, you know what, that just doesn't work for you. You get rid of it. Just dump it. And when we had you, Carolyn, come to class with Steve Bjork and Dave Russo, I wanted feedback. I wanted critiques. And you guys gave me some great advice. And I made those changes. And it made a world of difference because I want someone to tell me, yeah, just get rid of that. Yeah, just stop doing that.
Well, sometimes it just doesn't go with your stage persona. And like, there was one girl, I forget what she talked about. Like, she's going to die from online dating, that girl. I forget her name, but she was like telling me she was talking about all these bad online dates. I go, you need to stop going online dating because you're going to get killed. Like, they were like really creepy stories.
Yeah. Like she's on Craigslist, like.
Yeah. She's like, I was on Plenty of Fish. I'm like, you're going to get stabbed. Stop going.
Yeah, pay the $10, girl. Have the dignity. Like, whatever your dad did.
It was a great class, and I can't wait to take, level 4 and
Yeah, he's helped me a lot in comedy, too.
Yeah,
when I first started, he was like, don't take that gig for less than this because you're driving, here. This guy that used to book comedy that I think he may have passed away, but he was awful, and I'll pay you $25, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get paid to tell my jokes, and then you find out it's 150 miles away.
Right.
Like, why would you take that gig? Tony's like, don't take that gig. Don't take it for less than this. Like, because I met all those guys in Portland when I lived in Portland, so he was someone that he always had good advice.
And with Tony, I'll ask him, like, it was like probably like early in the COVID, so I was still trying to do comedy, but it was just. For me, it was just really too hard to do stand-up online, working from home with 2 kids, and 2 kids doing homeschooling for a greater part of last year. Yeah. But I asked him, I said, hey, this guy, this comic, do you know him? I wanted to reach out to him because he's got a show coming up, and I was thinking about doing it. He goes, no, he's a good guy. No, he's a good. Talk to him. You can, yeah. Do you want to put a good word in for you? I said, yeah, that would be really great if you could, mention my name. Yeah. I haven't been able to play with this guy yet because COVID. But now the comedy, and like you said, it's coming back so fucking fast, which is awesome. But now it's kind of like, oh shit, now I gotta get stuff together and stuff. And I gotta write up that next 10 minutes, at least give me 5 to get on the goddamn stage. Yeah. And we're actually oh good God, we're gonna actually hit the mics next week and gonna start up again.
Yeah,
oh
exactly.
Lordy. Oh Lordy, here we go.
I can't wait. Yeah, that was like, it's funny, like when I took a class like at the Hong Kong with Rich Gustis, and I God love him. I love the shit out of that guy, and Rick Jenkins and stuff like that. And then did a few shows but I just felt like I gravitated more into Boston because Cambridge crowds are kind of weird,
they're judgy.
Yeah, very
sorry,
judgy.
Cambridge, you're judgy.
Yeah, about everything, including humor, But we'll
Stop
see.
judging everyone, Cambridge.
Yeah, we're trying to have fun here. Is the point?
Stop looking at me, Swan.
But well, that's my thing with comedy coming back. I'd like it to fucking have a place to go to. I think that I don't know. It's crazy. I'm watching this show on Showtime called "I'm Dying Up Here."
Yep, I watched some of that.
Oh, it's really.
I didn't
cool.
watch the whole thing, but I was into it for a while.
It's cool, but you know what dawned on me was the fact that the business model hasn't fucking changed since the Catskills, and it's like okay, I'm watching these comedian pals, and they're killing themselves writing jokes for Twitter for fucking 18 hours a day, and it's man, why we got to figure out a way why are we giving our shit away all the time, and then. Exactly, not having a fucking pay scale where it's this is what I I would like to see if it's coming back, man, if it comes back, come back smarter, come back better. I don't know if a lot of people are comfortable fucking zooming comedy in their living rooms now with fucking. I'm not saying but
I just did one for Tony. It was a fundraiser for.
How did that go?
It was good. It was for his wife's theater. Yeah. But they did a different format. They did it more of an interview type format. They asked for topics, and then they would say, Carolyn, and then they kind of introduce your topic, and then you do your jokes. It wasn't just straight stand up, and it worked way better because when you're telling jokes on Zoom, if you don't have it on the right thing, you either have a gallery of people that look like they're not paying attention, or their pets are there, or it's their ceiling, or someone's not wearing a shirt, and you're like, what the hell? And
very distracting.
Or it's you because you're speaking, so it's you looking at you telling your jokes, which is also weird. Plus, you can't read the energy because there is no energy, so you have to create all the energy, and you feel like an asshole because you're alone in your apartment going, so anyway. So I hate it. I did them because that's all there was, and I did Tony's because it was different, and I'd do anything for Tony. And they didn't know that we would have been able to have it in June, so they booked it as a Zoom thing because they didn't know that they'd be able to actually have it at the theater because no one knew what the regulations were going to be.
Right.
So it ended up being fun. Tom Cotter was on it. Bobcat Goldthwait told the funniest stories. He's hilarious.
Honestly, one of my top, at the the Nick's Place down in Dedham. One of my first shows I saw was back in the 80s, and it was David Tell and Kevin James working a fucking room at like Dedham that like on a Wednesday night. But yeah, the fuck, I lost my point again. Bobcat, yeah, at Nick's. Like, honestly, that was my first real Boston show, and he went in and blew through Nick's fucking, like the old Nick's, not the one that looks like a fucking Japanese nightclub now, but like the one that looked like a bar with like
the one that had
bricks.
a stage that didn't have a DJ booth on it.
Definitely, man.
Last time I was there, I was like, there's like 6 feet. Like, not even. There's like 3 feet for you to stand in because now they built this thing on the stage. I'm like, you really don't want to do comedy here.
No, they don't. Like, and I didn't know that, like, because it's been dying a slow death. Like, when
they're back though. They're back doing comedy.
For a minute until like probably like proms, like, because that's when that was killing it. Like, there was like Japanese like proms that were going on that like I went to go see Greg Fitzsimmons there, and they were like, you've got to be out by like fucking 8 o'clock at night, like, as the Japanese proms coming through. It's like, well, are you a comedy club or you're fucking?
The last thing I did before COVID hit was I got 5 minutes at Nick's.
Yeah.
And it was like the most thrilling thing to date with comedy. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like the Mecca. This is like, oh my God. Right. And they said, you got to be out here by 10.
Yeah, that's.
You start packing stuff up when you run over.
And I'm like, why do we have to be out? Oh, the club opens then. And I'm like, oh, we're going to have a club. What
and they doing? Start coming in with ice.
Yes.
And you hear
yes. It's like,
and I'm going, what are they doing? Oh,
and then they play to get you out of there.
You can hear it coming through the walls too.
Yeah.
You're like,
as I was leaving, I heard that. I'm like, oh, that makes more sense now.
That used to be one of my favorite spots to do comedy too.
I used to love the old, like, honestly, before they moved that abortion to the Wilbur Theater, man, like the fucking old Boston Comedy Connection, like on the top of Faneuil Hall was like the best, like, for just being a fan, like going and seeing.
Yeah, that
like,
was fun. I didn't like the set that they had behind there.
It was so tacky.
You know what it was from? Rosie O'Donnell filmed her special there, and they just kept it.
They kept it there?
Really? I never knew that.
Someone told me that.
No shit,
but I was like, it looked like it was all awful colors, like big, bright, primary colors. I hated the background.
But they have like the Wilbur, though. Like, it's like sitting in some kind of like puritanical, like, you know.
Down in the basement?
What's your device? I've never seen. I saw Lisa Lampanelli there, and like, you know, speaking of comedy that like it doesn't age well, I remember being a huge fan of hers, and like
that whole female like gross like shock value. That's kind of going away. Whitney Cummings did some of it, but she was doing stuff that other people had already done. Like, it wasn't like anything earth shattering.
Well, I mean, you bring that a good point there too, because I think Amy Schumer's fallen down like a rabbit hole of like gross comedy, where it's like, I remember I saw her at Mohegan Sun one New Year's Eve, and then thank God, the best thing I've ever seen comedy wise, Bridget Everett opened up for her, and I don't know if you ever saw Bridget's stuff. Oh my God, she's a cabaret singer, and she's completely half naked the entire time. And you don't, like, she's singing, she's got old guys singing, what's it gonna take to get that dick in my mouth? Like, fucking, like, she is genius. Oh my God. If you ever, Bridget Everett, she's been in a few movies that Amy's like, you know, she's kind of her little thing, but oh my, yeah, Bridget Everett. And I actually got, at one point it was funny because she did a thing at Great Scott down in Alston, and I'm like, I told my wife, like, I'm gonna see Bridget Everett. And she's like, you make sure you keep your hands off her. I'm like, yeah, sure. So I'm sitting there and she's doing her thing, and she comes off the stage and she's working the crowd, and she has a LeMay thing, and her like breasts are like down to her knees, but like they're hanging up, but no one's paying attention to that because they're laughing their ass off the entire time. So she gets right to the bar I'm at, and she's like, put me up. And I'm like, are you serious? And it's like me and, God love them, like two lesbian girls right next to me, and they weren't putting her up. Like Bridget's built kind of like I am, so I literally put her up on the
She's
bar.
built kind of like I am.
Like my boobs are probably smaller. But yeah, and she did this whole big Twitch thing, and then she's like, put me down. God. I literally go, okay. So I put my hands up, and like she just leans in, boobs all over the place. I'm like, put her down gently, and then my wife comes. I come home. My wife's like, how's the show? And I'm like, you're not gonna believe I had Bridget Everett's boobs like in my hands, like. But yeah, she's genius. If you ever check her out, she's good. But yeah, no, I just hear you on the messy, that whole crew of messy.
It's just not
females.
my thing. Like I get
Not my
it.
thing,
It
too.
can be funny, but it's just not my. I like setup punch, or I like a storyteller comic. Like I'm not a big. I admire everything that Dane Cook has done, but I wouldn't want to sit through 45 minutes of his stuff because he doesn't tell jokes anymore. Like he doesn't tell he used to do more material, and now he does more act outs and stuff, and that's just not my thing.
I honestly, I didn't know what happened to him because, he wasn't my brand of tea, but he was my son's, and I felt bad. He's like, oh, Dad, listen. And I was like...
Yeah, he has some funny stuff, don't get me wrong. Plus, he figured out social media before any of us did, so...
Completely. And he was cute, and,
Yeah.
He packed Madison Square Garden. Whatever, if he did that with, paying people, he gets respect from me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just not my thing.
It's just not my thing. And then he just disappears, though, too.
He's
I
a
didn't even
producer.
know.
He produced American Gods on Showtime, and
Oh wow.
oh yeah, he's still doing stuff.
Oh, man. Outside of teenagers. Right? Yeah, that can get you either here and there, but...
Yeah,
but
I think he's still doing stuff, but not so much in the spotlight. He'll come back.
You think so?
I think so.
Well, yeah, I was waiting.
But that was a whole generation of comedy that's kind of gone away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but also too, I didn't know. I was watching the Patrice O'Neill documentary, and I didn't know all those guys were buddied up, Bill Burr, and I didn't know that Kevin Hart fucking told stand-up jokes. So.
I didn't know Kevin Hart was in New York at the same time as all those guys.
Me neither. Apparently, he was as well liked by those guys as everyone else, man. But yeah, no, it was as education, and I think Bill Burr and fucking Joe Rogan are the only two people I can think of doing anything successfully out of that group right now.
Yeah, Bill Burr's huge right now.
Yeah, and and then there's people like Artie Lane. Thankfully, he's taking his mental health seriously and stuff like that. But I remember seeing him and being like, oh man, again, it was like watching sad shit in real life,
Yeah.
But,
He got sad for a while, but
yeah. Well, on that crashing note, folks, fucking, we'll be appearing at wakes and funerals this week too. Fucking bring the nose up on this, man. Usually we have off the chain Kane over here, fucking nitro us into next week, man. But no, Carolyn, thank you for so much for coming down.
yeah,
and
thanks for having me.
always, I hope always a pleasure. But honestly, thank you. This has been amazing. And do you have what's coming up for you this month? What do you have gig-wise?
Tomorrow I'm at Skippy's Pier on the Cape in South Yarmouth.
Oh, nice.
Who knows how that'll go. So I have that
White wine spritzer fight.
on a Monday. And then I'm at the Grog on Wednesday in Newburyport. All places with water, apparently, this week. And then I don't know where I am. Well, I don't know if that one is public or not. I'm in Quincy on Friday, and then Saturday, I don't remember.
Got you.
But I got some midweek shows, which always kind of screw me up a little bit.
Do you have a website or anything?
I do. CarolynPlummer.com. www.carolynplummer.com. That's where my schedule lives.
Perfect. So definitely check that out, folks. Man, this has been really great for us to have our friend Caroline come in and class the joint up a little bit. And that's what it, Kev, man. What do you got? You gonna just fucking write out the week?
I'm hoping Islanders in 6.
There you go.
Put me out of my fucking misery.
You can enjoy the summer.
So we can just start the summer.
What if the Bruins fuck up and make it into the next round?
Then it's fighting with the wife because I got the tickets. I already have the tickets for the next round. So it's got no one to watch your kids because the oldest lacrosse season fucking doesn't end. It keeps fucking playing apparently. And it's going to be no one to watch your kids. Who's going to the game? Can I take this one to the game? He's got school tomorrow. It just fucking end it. Just end it. It's going to save arguments in my house. Just fucking end the season.
I hear you. Do your part, Bruins, man.
Just fucking... And losing regulation tomorrow. Fucking just end it. No overtime. Just fucking lose.
I'm with you, buddy.
And also, one comedy place we didn't mention, Slade's.
Slade's?
On Tremont Street.
Yes.
In Roxbury.
Oh, yeah.
It's... So when I first heard about Slade's, I was told I was not allowed in there.
Nice.
And apparently it's a little rough around the edges on Wednesday nights.
Yes.
I heard a doorman getting interviewed for a job at Slade's, and the manager goes, "Yeah, it's a little rough. Can you fight?" So check out Slade's on Wednesday nights. We're going to have comedy back.
Fuck, that's the first place I'm going.
Have you heard of it?
I have, and I've also had friends that have done it, and they got pulled over by the police, and they said, "Are you in the wrong neighborhood?"
It's in the projects.
And then
escaping
escorted them out of Georgia.
my first time in Slade, I was. You go in the kitchens to the left, where you get the food. The bars to the right. No one offered me a drink, and the woman over the kitchen looked at me, and I said, I had to say, they know I'm here. And she escorted me to my car after. It's fantastic food.
Yeah.
But they have comedy on Wednesday nights, and I heard it's if you can play at Slade's,
fuck
you
yeah,
can play anywhere.
I'm definitely going.
Challenge accepted.
Sounds good. Lauren, my girl, what you got going this week? We got
18 days.
18 days.
18 years. 18 years.
18
Okay, what are your
days, and that's
kids?
about it.
Gotcha. Alrighty. Well, we got that countdown going. Alrighty, folks. Thank you. This is Mr. J. Wishing you guys a good week. We'll be back next week. Hopefully, we'll scrape Kevin off of whatever ceiling or floor he'll be on, Bruins wise. Hopefully, me and Lauren will have some jokes recorded, or at least attempted, or at least someone will have some prosecco at a fucking different comedy joint than Giggles for a change. Alrighty, folks, you take care of yourselves, everyone. This is Mr. J signing off. Let me tell you this about that. Thank you for coming. And we'll talk to you guys next week. Bye-bye.
If she wants to dance and drink